And kickoff returns. Randy Love and Willard Harrell are back there with him. Mitchell, always dangerous, and has always been tough on the Chicago Bears. So we're about ready to play. It was supposed to rain this afternoon in St. Louis, and so far we have had a rather pleasant and very warm and humid afternoon. With a high ceiling, it looks like we're going to have a dry day. Mitchell bobbles at the one and drops it into the end zone, and that costs him a return. Now, you will not see Stump Mitchell do that very often. He likes to bring everything back, and it's not common for him to bobble one.
Well, at least he did not panic. There's a lot of receivers who, if they fumble on the goal line, they would think, hey, I got to run it out. But he just calmly went down in the end zone, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And the Cardinals have Lomax at quarterback. Anderson and Earl Farrell are the running backs. Pat Tilley and Roy Green at wide receiver. And a young and growing and tough offensive line. Doug Marsh, the tight end. Sharp, Steve, Clark, Bostic, and Tootie Robbins. And last week, they whipped up on the Dallas Cowboys, and they are still high from that victory here in St. Louis. First down from their own 20-yard line. Otis Anderson out the left side, and he is tripped up at the line of scrimmage. The man to get a hand on him was Todd Bell, and then Mike Singletary was right there to make sure he got no farther. It turns into a 3-yard gain. Defensively for the Bears, Mike Hartenstein, Steve McMichael, Dan Hampton, and Richard Dent. Hartenstein playing with sore ribs. The linebackers, Otis Wilson, who had an outstanding game last week against New Orleans, Mike Singletary, and Al Harris. And the secondary has one replacement for the injured Mike Richardson, rookie Sean Gale, joining Frazier, Bell, and Fensick. Sean Gale, 9th choice out of Ohio State. Mike Richardson out with a broken navicular bone in his wrist. Lomax on second down, lots of time, and hits for a completion, and then a steal by Al Harris, but it will be St. Louis ball. Doug Marsh, the tight end, making the catch, and it appears to be just short of the first down. They mark it just inside the 30-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and less than a yard.
The key there was that Neil Lomax had plenty of time to throw that football, just hung in the pocket, got good pass protection, and then drilled one. Lomax has really come on for a 3-year veteran. He is starting to play like an 8-year veteran at quarterback. They knew it was coming. He was out of Portland State, as you know, a small college, and sometimes it takes a little longer for the small college quarterbacks to click, but he is clicking right now.
3rd and short. St. Louis in the I formation. Anderson may have been stopped short of the first down. Good defensive reaction by the Bears. Dan Hampton and Al Harris, with Gary Fensick coming up from safety as he does so well, but Anderson with a little second effort got the first down. A good effort by the Bears defensively, but Anderson does the job. The big man, 210-pounder from Miami, who has already rolled up 385 yards rushing. The 83rd time these teams have met in regular season play, with the Bears holding a rather significant lead in the win-loss column. Lomax on first down to Green, and he made the catch against the coverage of Sean Gale. What a catch here. Gale did a pretty good job defensively.
He was on him, but Roy Green just went and got the ball, and Lomax had time. He threw the ball, and yes, the St. Louis Cardinals went after the rookie Sean Gale right off the gun, and you can see that Green had a couple of steps on him. The ball was a little bit short, but he still made the grab, and the St. Louis Cardinals are in commanding position at this point. Here it is from the low angle. He's got the inside position, and it makes it tough because Sean Gale has got to come up and over, and the ball was high enough and up and over, and Roy Green makes the grab. He's something else, isn't he?
He sure is. Gale, while he was beaten, as you described, made a good effort to get back and try and break it up. So the Cardinals threatening early, first series. They give us to Farrell, and he is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Got maybe a yard on the play, the center of the Bears defensive unit. And again, Todd Bell, the safety, coming up to join Dan Hampton and McMichael.
Yes, it was Steve McMichael with a good tackle there as he beat the block by Joe Bostic. So, as you can see so far, the Cardinals have not been able to move the ball on the ground at all. They really haven't got a significant gain on the ground. It's been all passing, and they'll sometimes get yards on you when they can't make their running game work. So, as you can take a look at the offense and the defense, this is a classic confrontation.
second down. There was a loss of about a half yard, and there is a bigger one here as Todd Bell puts the sack on Neil Lomax with the safety blitz. And, of course, Bell sometimes lines up as a linebacker, so to call it a safety blitz sometimes is a misnomer. Let's see where he was here.
Yes, he comes right through the gap, and there's nobody to pick him up. As you can see, everybody is occupied, and Todd Bell gets through slick and clean. The only one that could have hit him was Earl Farrell coming out of the backfield on the draw play, and Todd Bell makes the sack. And we were talking to the St. Louis Cardinals, Jim Hannafin, and he said the thing we have to do is pick up the funny way that they blitz on their 46 defense, and at that time they did not do it.
Danny Pittman has come in for Roy Green at wide receiver. Well, Green stays in. 3 wide receivers, Tilley, Green, and Danny Pittman, former New York Giant. Out of the shotgun, they have Willard Harrell and Stump Mitchell in this passing situation. 3rd and long. Lomax steps up into the pocket. Has the time, but the coverage was too good on Stump Mitchell, and Mitchell complaining that he was interfered with by Mike Singletary, but the apparent interference looked like it came after the ball had already hit the ground. That may have been the official viewpoint.
Yeah, I think it had to be the official viewpoint because obviously he was interfered with. The question is, had the pass, would it have gotten there? It was a very close call, and I kind of believe it might have been interference.
Well, it was contact for sure, but the ball had already hit the ground and was going to be incomplete. So the Cardinals will try the field goal. Neil O'Donohue is 8 of 13 in that department, a 44-yard try. Holding is Benny Perrin. And he's got it. Neil O'Donohue hits from 44 yards away, and the Cardinals open the scoring on their first offensive series. 10:28 to play first period. 3-0 St. Louis.
Prelude. Some people like to drive it wide open.
When you're the boss of a business with one computer and more than one person who needs it, you're a boss with a problem. The solution is Xenix, the multi-user system from Radio Shack. Xenix allows separate workstations to share the same information base and operate simultaneously. And as your business grows, you can add more terminals so that everyone's productive, even the boss. The sale price Xenix multi-user computer, only at Radio Shack Computer Centers.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris on a very pleasant afternoon in St. Louis, where the high-flying Cardinals have opened the scoring on a 44-yard field goal set up by a 54-yard bomb. Lomax to Roy Green. The kickoff by O'Donohue is taken by Jack Cameron, who shakes off one tackle and gets himself over the 20-yard line to the 24. Jack Cameron, the rookie number 30, absorbed one pretty good shot and wound up over the 20-yard line. So the Bears will bring out Jim McMahon at quarterback with Matt Suhey and Walter Payton. Willie Gull and Dennis McKinnon are the wide receivers. The offensive line, Jay Saldi, Jim Covert, Mark Bortz, Jay Hilgenberg, Kurt Becker, Andy Frederick for the injured Keith Van Horn for the second week in a row. Jim Covert, there you see him, number 74, the number 1 choice out of Pittsburgh, has been a starter from his very first game in the NFL a year ago. Jim McMahon has not been throwing the ball a great deal for 2 reasons. 1, he's been hurt with a bad hand. Number 2, Walter Payton gets to carry the ball a lot. Play action. McMahon on first down, complete to McKinnon. First down yardage to the 47-yard line. E.J. Jr., the linebacker, number 54, ranging back on the coverage, made the tackle.
McKinnon was able to get inside position on Lionel Washington after the play action pass. Gets the inside position. Washington's outside, and if the pass is on the money, there's not much a defensive back can do as the Bears come out throwing on first down. Now, the Cardinals play a lot of man-to-man defense with their cornerbacks, especially on second and third down. So we may see if McMahon can throw the ball as well as he did then, the Bears may throw much more than they have in the past.
A 24-yard pass play. McMahon to McKinnon. Now this is Payton. Payton digs for about 3, close to midfield. On the hit was Leonard Smith, the strong safety, and he leads the club in that department with 40 tackles coming into today's game. The number 1 pick a year ago for McNeese State. Defensively for the Cardinals, they also use a 4-3. Baker, Galloway, Elo Grooms, and Curtis Greer. Galloway and Grooms have both been hurt, but they're in action today. The linebackers, Thomas Howard, acquired from Kansas City. Kurt Allerman and E.J. Jr., that ought to say. Leonard Washington, Wayne Smith, Leonard Smith, and Benny Perrin. Perrin playing with a sore hip and a sore thigh. Wayne Smith for the injured Jeff Griffin. This is Payton on 2nd and 7. And a good job defensively on the corner. A flag on the play. They did not let him make the turn. The linebacker Howard, the strong safety Leonard Smith, combining to stop Payton for a gain of only about a yard. But we'll see what the flag is all about.
Well, there were 2 Cardinals in on the tackle, and the flag went down right at the tackle, so we're getting a face masking, and that'll be pretty good news for the Chicago Bears. Every time you look at Walter Payton, you have to bear in mind you're looking at the man who has rushed for more yardage than anybody in the history of the NFL, which goes back to 1920. And these were the only 2 teams around then. First game was 1920. They were called the Decatur Staley's, the Bears were, and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Pass by the defense, number 45, a 5-yard penalty, but it makes a first down.
Well, that's grasping the face mask, charge against Leonard Smith.
Leonard Smith had a couple 3 penalties last week for St. Louis. As you see Payton get to the outside, there is Smith reaching out 45, and he grabs that face mask. So the Bears are down into St. Louis territory, as you see Smith on the sidelines.
You know, I think he might have hurt himself when he got spun around. That Payton runs so hard, he's so strong, that he was literally whipped around by having a hold of his face mask, and Smith is being attended to. First down, Chicago in St. Louis territory. McMahon rushing out of the pocket. McMahon trying to get out of bounds and had to push Willie Gault out of his way, but he has a first down deep in St. Louis territory. It'll be at the 24-yard line. Allerman and Lionel Washington combined to force him out of bounds.
Such a good thinker McMahon is, because Matt Suey was coming down the field. You see 26, but a safety was covering Suey down the field, so McMahon wisely did not try to throw the ball, took off, and he's averaging 7 yards per carry to complement Walter Payton, and the Bears are blocking downfield a little bit as McMahon gets out of bounds.
Good reaction by his team downfield, and good reaction by McMahon. If he gets hurt, they've got some problems. Steve Fuller, the backup quarterback, recovering from a shoulder injury. Rusty Lish has only been with the club a few weeks. Flags everywhere on first down from the 24-yard line of St. Louis.
False start, moving too early, number 71. The play is killed.
Red Cashin gave that call in a hurry. Andy Frederick. False start. They'll back it up and go again at 1st and 15. Bob Harris has come in at middle linebacker for Kurt Allerman. Lee Nelson is in for Leonard Smith, as we pointed out. Smith leaving with an apparent injury. Well, here's how they stand right now offensively in the NFL. Bears first in the rushing department and 9th overall. Defensively, the Cardinals not their strong point until last week when they did a good job against Dallas. 1st and 15, Chicago. McMahon going for it all. He's got a man open. Touchdown! Willie Gault. And there are a fair number of Bears fans in the building today.
There certainly are. As he runs by Lionel Washington, he just goes down where you normally make a move and just turned it on, and McMahon threw the ball sooner. You notice he let the ball go and let Willie Gault run underneath it as he goes by Washington and makes the touchdown. Man-for-man coverage, and that's where the Bears may try and take advantage all day to force the Cardinals into changing their defense, because I don't believe Washington and Smith can cover Gault and McKinnon man-for-man all day.
Bob Thomas for the point after. Bashnagel holding. And he has it. So the Bears, on their first offensive series, march down the field and take the lead with 8:28 remaining in the first quarter. The Bears 7, the Cardinals 3. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, we are back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And the Chicago Bears, on their first offensive series, have taken a 7-3 lead. Stump Mitchell, who bobbled the first kickoff and was unable to bring it back, taking the touchback instead, will try again from the 5. Mitchell with room is hit at the 32-yard line, and it was Dave Finzer who made the tackle, and he hit him like a defensive back, and it's a good thing he did, Johnny, because Stump Mitchell had nothing but real estate in front of him.
He has a habit of breaking big ones against the Chicago Bears, and watch Dave Finzer, who hails from Chicago, went to high school in Chicago. He's the only man that had a chance to stop him, and you talk about fundamentals. He puts his head down, puts his both arms and wraps him. Number 15 will come up for the tackle right there. Nice play, Dave Finzer. He better watch it. He's going to be on the defensive team.
That was a darn fine tackle against a tough guy, 190-pound Stump Mitchell. All right, good field position nonetheless for the Cardinals as Stump Mitchell got it to the 31-yard line, make it the 32. Lomax on first down. Short man Anderson. Anderson close to first down yardage. Mike Singletary tackled him, and Lomax took quite a rap just after he released the ball. He was hit by Richard Dent, number 95, starting for the injured Tyrone Keys on the right defensive end. Well, we'll be going to Dallas and Washington. Most of you will see that big game in the NFC East Division, or Minnesota ventures out in an interconference game against the Raiders. Some of you will be watching that, the champion Raiders and the Minnesota Vikings. So stay with us for doubleheader action today on CBS Sports. Second down and 1 to go. Double tight ends. Doug Marsh, number 80, Greg LaFleur, number 89, are in for St. Louis in the short yardage. Flag down as Anderson got the handoff, but play was stopped and a false start charge against the Cardinals. Each team has committed that error.
False start, number 15, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, that was Lomax, who obviously got the count, scrambled up with his center, Randy Clark, and moved back from the center before the ball came up. So it'll be second down.
Second and 6, St. Louis from their own 36.
And 7 yards to go with the ball now just over the 35-yard line of St. Louis. 7-3 Bears. We're in the first period, 7:28 to play. Cardinals marched down the field, hit a field goal from 44 yards by O'Donohue. Bears got the following kickoff, and McMahon hit Galt for the 28-yard touchdown. A flag down. Here's Green open. Green is out of bounds, chased by Sean Gale, but a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. Green got to the Bears' 27-yard line.
It's against the Chicago Bears. They may have jumped off sides. And here was a classic case where the St. Louis Cardinals either audibled or Lomax saw it coming. Off the 46 defense, the all-out blitz, and he just threw it up, put Sean Gale on Roy Green man for man, and just threw it out in front. And look at Roy Green. He's got a couple of steps and
first down.
Knocked out of bounds as St. Louis comes up with another big play. I'll tell you, how'd you like to be Sean Gale?
Wow, he's got his hands full today. A 37-yard gain. Lomax to Green. It was Richard Dent offside for the Bears on the play, a little eager to get to the quarterback. Talking with Lomax this week here in St. Louis, he was extremely confident about his chances against this tricky Bears defense. He felt they had handled the Dallas blitz well last week, and obviously 2 long bombs on blitzing plays to Green had scored for St. Louis against the Cowboys. He was comfortable he could do it here. That pass is incomplete. It was dropped by Otis Anderson, and it was Mike Singletary who had Anderson in his sights. One cannot blame Otis for taking his eyes off the ball.
Well, there was another factor there. Lomax was under pressure, and he really drilled that ball. I think he was kind of hoping that Anderson wouldn't catch it. He threw it a little earlier than he wanted to and just drilled one, and that was going to be a loss because Singletary was right there. At that time, they ran one of the tight ends in motion, Doug Marsh. So they're trying to move around a little bit and using a double tight end to kind of neutralize some of the defenses that the Bears use.
Lomax is 4 out of 6, 107 yards so far. This is Anderson, shakes off one tackle and digs his way with a good second effort for about a 3-yard pickup. It'll bring up third down, however. Steve McMichael made the tackle on him. And Mike Singletary getting in on it as usual.
Right, Singletary was in there to bust up the interference. As you see, the New York Giants have taken a 6-0 lead over Atlanta in the first quarter. And New England over Cincinnati, first quarter score, 3-0, as most of the games have just begun. Kansas City has jumped on top of San Diego, 7-0 first quarter. And the Jets the same over Cleveland, first quarter.
So it is third down here in St. Louis. Dave Dewerson has come in. Jim Osborne has come in defensively. Out of the shotgun, 3rd and 7. Lomax rolling and will try to run for the first down. Did not make it. And he was hurt getting knocked out of bounds. It was Leslie Frazier who tripped him up. And then I think he took another shot just as he hit the sideline. And Lomax up, and I'm sure just a shiver went through the spine of Jim Hannafin, the Cardinal coach.
Well, that's for sure, because they only have 2 young quarterbacks behind Lomax. The reason he didn't make that was because of the fact that he didn't commit to the run until too late, and Frazier came up and knocked him out of bounds. So it's going to be a 4th down situation. Well, there is a flag on the field.
There was a flag on the play on the near sideline.
Lined up in the neutral zone. Number 25 on the defense. Still third down.
Todd Bell was not only not a safety or a linebacker on that play, he was a defensive lineman who was also offside. He lined up in the neutral zone. So there's a big break for the Cardinals there. They have a 3rd down and 2 instead of a 4th down, and they're at the 20-yard line. Lomax was hit by Richard Dent at the sideline. That's a lot of weight, 245 or 50 pounds on him. But the hefty Lomax apparently was unhurt. Slot formation left on 3rd and 2. Out of the eye, and motion goes Farrell, and they'll give it to Anderson. Anderson would appear to have the first down. Fensick was there. The man to make the tackle right around the ankles was Otis Wilson, number 55.
It's very, very close. In fact, he might be a touch short.
Well, the Bears on the first series nearly had Otis Anderson stopped. In fact, I thought they had, and he got the benefit of the doubt. Jim Hannafin hopes they get the benefit of the doubt again here from the officials. This time there'll be a measurement. Mike Ditka is working that gum over pretty well here in the early going. His team on top, 7-3. And you can see shirt sleeves. It's warm here, about 70 degrees in St. Louis.
It's going to be 4th and probably about 2/3 of a yard. So first big decision for Jim Hannafin. What kind of count? Oh, there he says, let's go for it.
I thought the Cardinals got a lucky spot on that first drive. This time I think they were a little unlucky. I thought Otis Anderson was much closer to the marker, but we're looking at it from some distance away, of course, in this baseball configured stadium, Busch Stadium. Double tight ends are in, Doug Marsh and Greg LaFleur, as they will try to power their way for a first down. Farrell and Anderson, the running backs.
I think the key here for St. Louis is not to be in the I formation, because the Bears are pretty good about a kind of a situation like that, or a deep formation. They're not in the I. Now they've gone back. Now Otis has got Anderson's got to run a long way to get to that line of scrimmage unless they quarterback it.
4th and less than a yard. Anderson has the first down. Michael made the tackle. St. Louis has the ball and a first down at the Bears' 16-yard line. We have 5:36 remaining in this first period. Both offensive teams have moved the football. We have yet to see a punt.
St. Louis at the Chicago 16.
Otis Anderson has rolled up 97 yards against the Bears in his past appearances. And he has 9 yards on 5 carries in this first period today. First down, Cardinals. Anderson again, trying to get outside, cuts it inside, is met by the linebackers, off pops a helmet. It was Singletary, number 50, who straightened him up after a 2-yard gain. Let's go for an NFL Today report to Brent Musburger.
Tim, it was 4th and goal for Atlanta against the Giants. They had failed 3 times. Bartkowski pulled out. Carl Banks, the rookie, gets the first lick. Lawrence Taylor cleans up. The Giants hold. Still 6-0. Back to Tim and Johnny.
All right, Brent, we are in St. Louis at Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals now have a 2nd and 8 at the 14-yard line. Threatening again. They scored on a field goal in their opening series. Slot formation left. We've seen a lot of I in this early going here. Lomax, sideline pass, and it is complete to Farrell, who is hit immediately. Got about 3 yards. The flag down away from the ball. Sean Gale made the tackle on Earl Farrell, the third-year man from East Tennessee State. a signal against the Chicago Bears. An unhappy Gary Fensick, the recipient of the news from Red Cashin, the referee, and an even more unhappy coach Mike Ditka.
Well, that's the one thing that has made him the most unhappiest this year. Most unhappy, I should say.
Number 73 on the defense. First down.
Well, now that's a strange kind of a holding situation where your defensive end, Mike Hartenstein, is charged with holding on a pass play that went to the other side of the field. It's a little bit unusual.
He must have grabbed a receiver and held him as he was trying to get out of the backfield. You still can't do that. You can knock him off stride. But anyway, the penalties. There's 73 right there, Mike Hartenstein. There's he grabbed, he's calling him for grabbing the tight end, Doug Marsh there.
So it is first down, St. Louis at the 9-yard line. First and goal. Marsh and LaFleur, double tight ends are in. One setback. That is Anderson. Another flag down. Anderson is racked up at the line of scrimmage, got a couple of yards. There were flags on each side of the field. And the penalties have just completely taken over on this offensive drive of the St. Louis Cardinals. And the damaging ones have been against the Bears, as this one is.
And this is the thing that has upset Mike Ditka all year. The Bears have had way too many penalties. He's not too upset with the other facets of the game, but he says there's no reason for so many penalties.
Neutral zone.
That's
number
twice.
95 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
Well, that was Richard Dent, and again, the second time they've been charged for lining up in the neutral zone, which is effectively an offside situation. And I think sometimes, too, that comes into kind of a judgment. And the players just have to be awfully careful to make sure if they have to give up another 6 inches or so, that's what they have to do.
One informal thing that officials are supposed to do is when they see people lined up to say, watch your alignment to try, to help both sides. But apparently it's happened twice now to Dent.
The Bears have had 4 penalties for 20 yards. Cardinals trying to take advantage. Randy Love, number 40, is in with Otis Anderson. And Randy Love has a touchdown. A quick opener for the 6-year man from Houston. Had a beautiful hole on the left side behind Terry Steve and Louis Sharp.
And you can see Joe Bostic, too. And Terry Steve comes across on the trap, and Bostic throws his block, and it was good trap blocking by the St. Louis Cardinals. If you watch to the left of your screen, you can see the block come down from the other side as Love gets through, scores the touchdown. Nice play by the St. Louis Cardinals.
Neil O'Donoghue with the point after try. Benny Parent holding. He has it. So we have had offense, and more offense on 3 consecutive series. The Cardinals have retaken the lead 10-7. The Irish-born lanky place kicker of the Cardinals. And for the Bears, Jack Cameron and Dennis Gentry are the kick returners. It'll be Dennis Gentry from the 2. Gentry has some daylight. Cut inside and was tripped up by Bill Kay, number 22. And another good kickoff return by the Bears out to the 35.
Okay, let's take a look at the return as Dennis Gentry doesn't get too much chance to play because he plays behind Peyton, but you're going to see Kay make the a tackle to save the touchdown, and then there was a little help from Victor Heflin as the Bears came within 1 block of going all the way on that kickoff return.
33-yard return for Dennis Gentry. First down for the Chicago Bears. They trail now 10-7. Suey in motion behind the ball. Peyton takes it back the other way. Trying to get outside, spins it up inside, is met by Kurt Allerman, number 51. And now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, the Chicago Bears better not look back because here comes Steve DeBerg. He has turned the Buccaneers into a winner. This time he hits Kevin House. They're looking for 3 in a row now. They lead Detroit 7-0. Back to Tim and Johnny.
Well, the Bucs are 3-3 going into the action, and of course a win there, a loss here would have them tied up with the Chicago Bears. We'll see as the afternoon progresses, but the Buccaneers, who were whipped by Chicago in the first game, mainly because of turnovers and injuries, are suddenly now a factor again. All kinds of motion there, and flags are down off to Suey. Suey has a first down and into Cardinal territory at the 48. Now the question here is whether the Cardinal player was drawn over or not, because he definitely was offside. Curtis Greer was the man who jumped the gun, but he may have been pulled over. We'll wait and see what Red Cashin says. Evidently not. Curtis Greer is the guilty party, number 75.
Offsides, middle of the line by the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
So the Bears keep the first down yardage. In Cardinal territory, they spotted at the 49-yard line. Randy Love's touchdown has sent St. Louis back in front, 10-7.
And the Cardinals have been pretty automatic, man-for-man coverage on those corners.
And the Bears have been a good first-half team, as that statistic would indicate to you. Suey breaking tackles, digs for 5 yards to the 44-yard line of St. Louis. Met there by Greer and Wayne Smith. Greer, number 75, and Wayne Smith, number 44.
Okay, you talk about what is a normal mismatch. Here's Walter Payton, number 34, putting a block on Curtis Greer, but I don't know who blocked who.
Well, that was a bit of a mismatch weight-wise. Greer goes 260.
He gave it the old college try, though.
Well, Walter Payton, considered by everybody to be one of the toughest blockers in football, despite his size against those big men. Suey in motion. It is 2nd and 6, and this is Payton, and he gets wide, and that good pursuit by the Cardinals. Fine defensive play by Benny Perrin, the third-year man from Alabama. He's the quarterback on defense, and he showed good reaction there, preventing Payton from getting upfield.
Yeah, they got around the horn there as Andy Frederick, the tackle, pulled out and threw a nice block on Nelson to spring Payton around the end. That Bear offensive line is young, but they're eager. And when you rush for 222 yards per game, that's what they're averaging. That's best in the NFL. If they keep going at that pace, they could set a National Football League record for rushing in a season by a team. So that's saying something for the run. Now, they're 28th in passing.
That's right. New England holds that rushing record. In 1978, the Patriots set it. This is Payton off left tackle, has the first down. Again, Perrin in on it. The first contact made by Allerman. Talking with Kurt Allerman yesterday, is now back as a regular in the middle for the Cardinals. He said, of course we think about Payton. No, we haven't set up a special defense. What we need to do is to get everybody to him. We've got to have help and good pursuit. And so far, they've shown that well, particularly when he's run wide.
I still think the stars of this game before it's over are going to be Galt and Dennis McKinnon.
First down, Bears in St. Louis territory at the 37-yard line. McMahon on the roll, intended for Moorhead, incomplete. Now for an NFL Today report again. Let's once more join Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, Vince Ferragamo may not get his job back when he returns to the Rams. Jeff Kemp is doing a job, and watch the run after the catch by Drew Hill here against the New Orleans Saints. So far, Earl Campbell has not played, but Bum's got to be thinking about him right now. He's down 7-3, back to 10.
All right, Brent, we have a 2nd and 10 here on the incompletion intended for Moorhead. St. Louis leading 10-7. 36 seconds remaining in the first quarter. In an almost sunshiny afternoon now. Nice and bright after predicted rain. Nickel off the defense in for the Cardinals as Payton skips his way upfield. Was caught with an ankle grab by Lee Nelson, number 38. But a gain of nearly 7 yards. Let's see where they spot it. It'll be close to a 7-yard pickup for Walter Payton.
Boy, the Bears are really getting around the horn on that right side. They're getting the pulling guards and tackles out there in front. That's been very successful for them so far early in this game.
So it'll be 2nd and a long 3. Third down, pardon me, after the incompletion. 3rd down and a long 3. And the quarter's going to wind down before the Bears will get this play off. And so at the end of 1 here at Busch Stadium, the St. Louis Cardinals 10, the Chicago Bears 7. We could have a shootout. Down and a long 3 as they defend to our left now in their road white jerseys at the 31-yard line of the Cardinals. Suey sets up on the wing right, number 26. The give is to Suey. He's got some room. Breaks a tackle and dropped the ball. It looks like a Cardinal recovery. So Matt Suey, after making a good run breaking tackles, has lost the ball to the Cardinals. Lionel Washington, number 48, has recovered for St. Louis and stopped the Bears' drive.
Did that play set up for the Bears? So watch Kurt Becker, the left guard, 79, pull out. He throws a key block here as the action goes to Payton and back to Suey. And Suey broke a tackle and then fumbles the ball after being hit the second time. They're just kind of bobbled it, and it's St. Louis's ball.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris in St. Louis, where Lionel Washington has recovered a Matt Suey fumble at the Cardinal 13, blunting a Chicago offensive threat. The Cardinals lead it 10-7. First down. Out of the I formation, Green in motion. Play action, and Lomax is dropped at the 5-yard line. Dan Hampton, still bothered with a sore knee. The number 1 pick from Arkansas in 1979. Makes the big sack here as the Bears offense turned it over. Chicago's defense trying to get it back.
And here's a look at that fumble on the previous play. There is Eloy Groom, 78 now. Does he hit the ball out of Suey? Right there's his right hand. It looks like he might have jolted the ball loose. Suey never could get control. And then Lionel Washington made the recovery to blunt a Bear drive.
Matt Suey discussing what happened down there. Conversation along the sidelines. And on second down, the Cardinals. Otis Anderson, number 32, gets out over the 10-yard line. A gain of about maybe 7 on the play. Let's see where they spot it. It'll be a 5-yard pickup to the 10. Third down. Well, next Saturday, college football. Doubleheader action on CBS. You'll see the Michigan Wolverines against the Hawkeyes of Iowa in a Big Ten contest. And then out to the Pac-10 for the UCLA Bruins against the California Golden Bears. Television's best college football continues next Saturday, noon Eastern, here on CBS Sports. Third down, 12 to go. St. Louis from their own 10-yard line. In the shotgun. Lomax near the goal line. Just got it away for Green. Overthrown. Terry Schmidt, Gary Fensick on the coverage deep. And the rush led by Dan Hampton, who already has a sack in this defensive series for Chicago. That Green would tend to scare any secondary to death.
Well, I'll tell you, Lomax really threw that ball down the field, but he was under pressure. The Bears don't have much in the way of sacks. I think they have 1 sack, but they've been putting a lot of pressure on Lomax, and that time he was lucky to get it off.
First punt of the afternoon finds Carl Birdsong punting from his end zone. Jeff Fisher waiting for it at the Bears' 48-yard line. Birdsong has a nice stat and certainly doesn't want to break it here. And he gets that away handily. A short punt taken by Fisher on the fly, and he gets inside the 35-yard line of St. Louis. Not a good kick for Birdsong. Excellent field position for Chicago. They trail by 3, 13-24. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, we are back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis on a very pleasant fall afternoon. The Cardinals lead the Bears 10-7. Chicago football after the 31-yard punt. Payton will pass. Wide open is McKinnon diving for it. It's just overthrown. Well, Walter Payton is not a bad passer, and he has already connected this year on his first pass attempt of the season. And this time he just threw it a little too far.
And he's running to his left. That's difficult even for a quarterback. And he turns, and McKinnon is wide open. Everybody bit on the run, and he just threw it a little bit too far. McKinnon took the dive, couldn't get there. Payton is so strong that, most backs in that kind of a situation might throw a wounded duck, but not Walter Payton. And look at his reaction. You don't think he wanted a completion? Oh, no. He has 5 touchdown passes. I mean, he can do anything for a football team.
Mike Ditka said during the week he had thought about using him at tailback because of McMahon's injury and have him back there throwing the ball, running it, and being an effective triple threat. 2nd and 10. McMahon. He's got Baschnagel incomplete. Baschnagel with tight coverage by Washington, unable to make the grab. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, a man who is held up for the New York Giants is their quarterback, Phil Simms. He hits Carpenter here under heavy pressure, and Carpenter hangs on. Giants finally kick an extra point. It's 13-0. Giants over Atlanta. Back to Tim.
Well, the New York Giants, who have struggled their last couple of outings against a couple of top teams, Washington and San Francisco, out in front of Atlanta here and trying to keep themselves in the picture in the National Conference East Division. 3rd down and 10 for the Bears at the 35-yard line. Out of the shotgun, they've got 3 wide receivers, and now Payton in motion. McMahon rolling a little bit left. Has a man open, McKinnon, and McKinnon makes the catch and a 1st down at the 7-yard line. Perfect strike on the run to his left from McMahon to McKinnon.
Now, this is what you call an excellent pass play, because watch Payton is short as McMahon rolls out. Payton is short. Dennis McKinnon, 85, is medium depth, and Brian Baschnagel is way down the field, so he has 3 receivers to look for. He leads him perfectly. McKinnon puts the feet down and inside, and that's the way you want a pass pattern. You want to give the quarterback 2 or 3 options, and he had Payton short, Baschnagel down in the end zone, and McKinnon at the medium depth. Nice play by the Bears.
27-yard gain, and the Bears threatening again. They coughed it up their last time down here. It's now at the 7-yard line, 1st and goal. Suey and Payton. Suey sets up on the wing with a tight end Saldi, a little bit unusual formation. Double wing there. McMahon on a quarterback sneak got to the 5-yard line. A pickup of 2, and that might have been a busted play.
It could have been a busted play or kind of a delayed. But the way he's talking there, it looks like didn't go quite the way Jim McMahon wanted it to.
Well, surely with those 2 guys lined up on the wing, it was supposed to go that way. Look at this Tampa Bay Detroit. I told you earlier, the Buccaneers leading the Lions 7-0. Detroit struggling. Tampa Bay trying to catch the Bears. Houston and Miami are scoreless in the 2nd period. Cincinnati in front of New England 7-3. Bengals coming out their 1st win last week. And a timeout is called
1 for Chicago
by the Chicago Bears with 12:25 to play in the 1st half. And we'll be back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis with the Cardinals leading 10-7. Up a timeout. Jim McMahon didn't like what he saw or wasn't certain about the play that came in. Whatever. They called timeout. They have 2 remaining. 12:25 remaining in the 1st half of play. It is 2nd and goal at the St. Louis 5. The Bears had brought it into St. Louis territory on their previous drive and lost it on a fumble by Matt Suey at the Cardinals 13. Now they're 2nd and goal from the 5. Payton in motion. Pitch out to Suey. Gets a block from Payton. And he is slammed down. Excellent defensive reaction by the St. Louis Cardinals. E.J. Jr. and Kurt Allerman, the linebackers 54 and 51, were all over that.
They certainly were. Kurt Alleman, who's getting the play because of an injury situation, has taken advantage of it, was quick to pursue that time, and there was no room on the cutback. Nice play by the St. Louis linebacker. So now we have a 3rd down and goal situation. You'd have to think the Bears may go to the air, wouldn't you?
Cardinals defensively have had their injury problems right from the start of the season, which accounted for some of their high-scoring games against in the early going. But they have Galloway and Grooms back in the middle. Today they have lost Leonard Smith, their leading tackler. Calvin Thomas has come in for the Bears on 3rd and goal. And they do go to the air. And it is complete to Saldi, who dropped the ball. It's recovered in the end zone. Was it an incomplete pass? No, it is a completion. And the Cardinals touched the ball in the end zone. So another turnover by the Bears has cost them a score.
Boy, that's a tough one to take. It looked like Saldi was going to bowl his way into the end zone. That was a sure touchdown for the Chicago Bears as they crisscross the tight end and the wide receiver. You'll see the wide receiver come right across from left to right on your screen. You'll see Saldi, 81, go to the outside. They tried a little pick play, you might say. Right there, Saldi's got the ball. There's Perrin with the tackle, strips the ball from him, and look what he does. He gets up, gets the ball. I'd have to give him an A on that play, wouldn't you?
Boy, what an outstanding play by Benny Perrin. What a reaction after the tackle to get the ball. So the Cardinals have stopped the Bears again, and they lead 10-7. About the athletic ability of Benny Perrin, who is playing hurt here today. And we saw there his terrific reaction as he immediately got up and got possession of the ball. That is Earl Farrell on first down for a gain of about 2 from the 20-yard line. That is a touchback being recovered by Perrin in the St. Louis end zone. And so thus they start from the 20-yard line. Coming up next, you'll see either Dallas against Washington for first place in the NFC East, or the Vikings against the champion Raiders as the human wave begins to ebb and flow here in the Busch Stadium.
That human wave is getting popular all over the country, isn't it?
It certainly is. Seattle claims they started it. Second down and 8. And ooh, what a rip on the Cardinals' Otis Anderson by Richard Dent. And he got maybe a yard, and Dent a little slow to get up, and
they haven't got the wave perfected yet here.
They think they need a choreographer to work on this one a little here.
Oh.
But it's the spirit that counts.
Oh, this stadium is full. Busch Stadium, probably about 52,000 fans. And now it's a third down situation. The Bears are very effective on third down situations. Conversions, they've only allowed 23%.
3rd and 6. Osborne is in defensively. Dave Dewerson is in the secondary. Danny Pittman, the third wide receiver. Out of the shotgun, Lomax. Lomax under pressure, and he is sacked by Hampton again. His second sack, and about the 4th time he has created some havoc for Lomax. He dropped him back at the 11-yard line.
The defensive backfield deserves some credit for good coverage downfield as the Bears went into a crisscross with their tackles and ends, and they just kept persisting, and Lomax couldn't find himself a receiver, and here comes number 99, Dan Hampton, with the sack. You would never know he's playing on a bad knee, a very sore knee.
Hampton had 3 sacks coming into the game. He's up to 5 in that department. Carl Birdsong again punting from his end zone. Jeff Fisher, who caught a short 31-yarder from Birdsong and put the Bears into St. Louis territory, will have another opportunity. This time, Birdsong nails it. Backs up. Fisher, fair catch at the 40-yard line of the Chicago Bears. So we'll return to Busch Stadium in St. Louis with the Cardinals holding a 10-7 lead. 9:39 remaining in the first half. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris. Jim Hannafin on the sidelines there in discussion with Joe Bostic, his right guard, who's playing with a neck injury, and you see he's got a collar around it. May have been bothered a little bit by it. First down, Chicago. Play action. McMahon going deep for Galt. The pass short, but Galt makes the catch. Willie Galt came back to the ball in traffic. Perrin and Washington were there. McMahon, under pressure, left the ball short, and credit to Willie Galt for showing the presence of mind to get back and make the grab.
Okay, good play by Willie Galt, man for man. Perrin comes in to help as the safety, but Galt spotted this ball, came back for it. McMahon just can't quite get it that far down the field as Washington is driven off. Now Galt takes a look, sees the ball short, comes back to get it. Good play, heads up by Willie Galt, and makes the catch before Perrin comes over to help out.
36-yard play. First down, Chicago at the 24-yard line of St. Louis. So here they are again in scoring territory. They failed on their last 2 tries. Suey in motion. Payton back the other way, and he's tripped up behind the line by the linebacker Thomas Howard, number 59, on an excellent defensive play, but he still wound up with a 2-yard gain.
Great play by Howard because he was blocked by Kurt Becker, played off the block, took the hit, and made the tackle.
A reminder that next Sunday, a CBS Sports special will have America's Marathon from Chicago. Olympic champions Joan Benoit, she's expected to compete, and Carlos Lopes, who was the champion at the Olympic Games in Los Angeles, are expected to head one of the strongest marathon fields ever in a 26.2-mile race in and around downtown Chicago. 4:30 Eastern Time next Saturday. McMahon on second down and 9. Has a man open, and it's Suey. Does he get the touchdown? No, he's down at the 1-yard line. Lee Nelson stopped him there. What a pass by McMahon.
On the run as McMahon spotted Suey 26 down the field off the play action. He rolls out and stops, and you'll see Howard, 59. He sees the play coming, leaps as high as he can to try and knock it away, but Suey makes the grab, Nelson the tackle, and the Bears are down on the 1 foot yard line. Good heads-up play by Jim McMahon, and one thing that is developing is that the Bears are starting to control this football. They've had the ball most of the time here in the second quarter.
Yes,
St. Louis
they have.
offense has not been able to get on track.
A very excellent point, Johnny, because while the Bears have only 7 points, they have had the football. They just coughed it up twice deep in St. Louis territory. And they are at the 1 foot line on first down, and Walter Payton is in the end zone. Touchdown.
Sweetness, Walter Payton with the touchdown. You give it to him on the 1 yard line, he's going to get up and over 9 times out of 10. Just a straight handoff, and Payton. And how many times have you seen him do this? He didn't get as high as he normally does, but he saw the hole, so he got there. As the Bears take the lead.
Payton's 4th touchdown of the season. Johnny Rowland congratulates him as he comes off. Bears assistant coach, who of course was a star here for the Cardinals and for the University of Missouri. Back visiting some friends here last night and hoping to make it an unhappy afternoon for the Cardinal fans. Bob Thomas with a point after, and the Bears have regained the lead. And we have 7:16 remaining in the first half. Chicago 14, St. Louis 10. The Cardinals defensively doing a good job despite injuries to the likes of Jeff Griffin, still out with a broken arm off the right corner, and the loss in the game of Leonard Smith, their leading tackler, the strong safety. But the Bears finally denting it, and as you pointed out, Johnny, they have controlled the football time-wise through most of this first half, something they have done consistently.
Yes, they have. St. Louis has been bottled up every time they've gotten the ball. The last 3 or 4 times they've been back in their own 10-yard line. This is the first time they're out at the 25, which can make a big difference.
Neil Lomax and company. What a week they had last Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. Lomax with 354 yards in passing against the Cowboys. Marsh and LaFleur, double tight end offense on first down. He gets time and airs it out. Intended for Tilley. What a catch by Tilley. And he is stopped by Fensick after he took the ball away from Leslie Frazier. Frazier looked outside. Tilley turned inside and stole the ball. Another big bomb. Lomax to Tilley.
The Bears put a blitz on. You'll see Otis Wilson coming from the left side as Lomax adjusted a little bit in the pocket. Throws for Tilley, who was covered by Leslie Frazier. But Tilley, just a heads-up play, and that's why he's a great football player. Came back to get the ball up and over Frazier, who didn't spot it, and then gets up, and Gary Fensick comes over. Tilley alertly tried to continue on to run the ball, but it's a first down for St. Louis. Pat Tilley, who's been the bread and butter man for the St. Louis Cardinals for several years. 4 receptions for 82 yards last week, an average of 20 yards per carry.
He has 26 on the season and now 27. And they measure him at 5'10", but I'm not even sure he's that. He just knows how to get the ball. Lomax is dropped by Wilson. A loss of 2 on the sack by Otis Wilson and Hartenstein.
Penalty.
Flag down on the play.
Otis Wilson got ticked off at Lomax. I don't know if Lomax said anything or if he did anything, but then Otis gave him a little shove right in front of the official. And that's what you call a no-no.
Otis Wilson had 3.5 sacks coming in, and this one may go for naught if they march it off against the Bears, and it looks like they're going to.
Unnecessary roughness after the ball was down. Number 76 on the defense. First down.
Well, they didn't call it on Otis Wilson, Steve McMichael, but it looked like Otis Wilson was the one doing all the activity down there, but McMichael gets the call. Okay, McMichael is number 76, the upper left corner of your screen. Now there's Wilson on the tackle. I think he just miscalled the number. It should have been on Otis Wilson, I'd have to think, wouldn't you?
Well, unless it came after the play. I don't see McMichael anywhere around it. Let's see.
Yeah,
there's the flag.
It's got to be Wilson.
Yeah, I think they just got the wrong guy. Doesn't matter. It works out the same for the Cardinals. First down at the Bear 20. Short drop by Lomax, and the pass incomplete. Not a good throw, intended for Roy Green. He just threw that one too low. 2nd and 10 for the Cardinals. So the Bears hurting themselves with penalties. Next Sunday, our NFL action starts with the NFL Today, and then the St. Louis Cardinals have a big one at home against the Redskins. The Bears will be at Tampa Bay. Now, of course, we've been tracking that score for you. The Buccaneers are 3-3, and Detroit will be at Minnesota, San Francisco, and Houston. Check the local listings for the game and time in your area. 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Again, the double tight end. Offense for the Cardinals, Marsh and LaFleur. Lomax, a deep drop, and he is sacked from behind. What a play by Dent. Richard Dent reaching from behind, and right behind him, coming up the middle, was Hampton. Dent, the second-year man from Tennessee State, he showed some agility here, Johnny.
It looked like nobody even blocked him. You're going to see the left tackle is Sharp. Lewis Sharp just got a late start out there, and Dent went by him so quickly that Sharp couldn't do anything about it. That was just a quick move by a 275-pound man, about 265 pounds, Richard Dent.
3rd down and very long from the 30-yard line.
Look at the quarterback sacks.
And the Bears whipping up on this rather good St. Louis offensive line. Lomax gets protection this time, but is forced out. He'll run it. Close for the first down. Sean Gale forced him out, number 23. Neil Lomax showing his running ability. And the fans love it. And Lomax got the first down to the 10-yard line. What an effort.
And what an extra dimension. Both Lomax and McMahon give their teams good coverage down the field. Lomax couldn't find anybody. The rush was there. He takes off down the field, has a presence of mind to look there to kind of freeze everybody, then takes off, and it's Sean Gale who has to come up and make the tackle, number 23. But Lomax knew where the first down marker was, cuts to the outside, and just barely gets the first down.
So he made up all that sack yardage and has them back 1st and goal inside the 10. Bears lead 14-10. 5:28 to play first half.
Oh.
This is Anderson.
Nice blocking. Watch the left guard, Terry Steve, number 68. He pulls out in front. Number 68 down here at the left of your screen. He throws the key block on Todd Bell that allows Otis Anderson to get into the end zone. Good pulling by the guards. Lewis Sharp was also pulling, but the key block was by number 68, Terry Steve, and that was it. Big Otis goes in. Touchdown, Cardinals.
Neil O'Donohue with the point after. He has it. A flag down on the play. Boy, I'm getting tired of looking at yellow hankies out there. It's first half. We've had a bunch of them. 75 yards in 6 plays.
Holding during the kick, number 89 on the offense, 10-yard penalty.
Oh, we're going to make an extra point into a field goal.
Greg LaFleur charged with holding on the point after try, number 89. When you get him on the extra points, you know you're in for a long day of penalties.
Well, this will not be a chip shot either. This could be a key point with the score 16-14.
Well, O'Donohue has a 44-yard field goal to his credit, the opening points of the game on their opening series for St. Louis. And now he'll be hitting from the 19, turning it into a 29-yard point after. Then he got it again. So the St. Louis Cardinals storm back and take a 17-14 lead with 5:23 remaining in the first half.
Recently, 2 American travelers dined at the Paris home of the famous chef, Anne Willem. The hostess, who founded Paris's Lagorine cooking school, served a special Chablis that had won first prize in a prestigious competition. The guests were complimentary. And when asked where the award-winning Chablis might be purchased,
And do you know where?
the chef replied,
Why, I should think just about any way you like.
Chablis Blanc from Ernest and Julio Gallo. All the best.
Brad, where are we going?
To Sears to get you a new battery.
A diehard?
Uh-huh. And it's the lowest price of the season, just $49.99 installed.
Oh, thank you.
And I saved $20.
Okay, big saver. How about tires?
Well, Sears has the biggest savings ever on weather-wise steel-belted radials, low as $34.99 installed.
Wow.
You're pretty peppy.
It's confidence, Brad. Sears installs it.
There's more for your life at Sears.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris. We are back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the Cardinals have regained the lead. A seesaw battle underway here. The Chicago Bears, having coughed the ball up twice deep in St. Louis territory, foiling scoring opportunities, have fallen behind again. And this just looks, Johnny, like what we expected. This is going to be an aerial circus with two outstanding runners in the game, and Otis Anderson, who just scored a 10-yard touchdown for the Cardinals, and, of course, the Bears' Walter Payton. So we're going to have some football. And there's the view of O'Donoghue's kickoff coming to Jack Cameron in the end zone. And he will not bring it out as he is about 8 yards deep. Now let's take a look at what else is happening around the NFL today. Look at the Rams in front of New Orleans, 21-3. New Orleans lost last week to the Chicago Bears. Detroit has come back to tie Tampa Bay at halftime. It's like the defense is doing the job there.
Philadelphia leads Indianapolis 10-0 in the second quarter. And Cincinnati may win a football game. 14-3 over New England. That's a second quarter score. Kansas City 10-6 over San Diego second quarter. And the Jets 17-7 over Cleveland second quarter.
So the Chicago Bears first down from their 20 with Jim McMahon 7 of 9 in passing. Sore hand and all. Walter Payton takes it inside, breaks a tackle. Still going to the 40-yard line. E.J. Jr. hauls him down there, and the best news for everybody, no flags.
Okay, Walter Payton on his first really big run of the game. He has not been what you call a big factor in this game so far. Good blocking as he cuts back, breaks a tackle. Then there's Wayne Smith. Perrin is the one who gets a hold of him and misses him. And here comes Wayne Smith, 44, and E.J. Jr. 2 men in on the tackle as Walter Payton makes his first run of this football game. He had only had 30 yards rushing going into this play. And here comes Jr., 54, tried to strip that ball from Walter.
Defensively, Stafford Mays, number 76, in for Elo Grooms. McMahon for McKinnon, incomplete. Just slightly overthrown. McKinnon complaining about interference from Lionel Washington, but gets no sympathy.
No, there was no interference that time as Washington didn't go for the out move as McKinnon ran an out and up. He ran about a 12-yard out maneuver. Now he's turning up the field after his out maneuver, and Washington is to the outside of him and just covered the play well. No doubt about it.
Lionel Washington with 2 interceptions coming into the game in his early season start. And McKinnon complaining really was McKinnon who kind of fell into Washington there, so no call. 2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line. And you see McMahon is currently 7 of 10, 155 yards. Lomax, who has had less game time in this first half, 5 of 9 for 149. They give it to Suey, who breaks a tackle, but is stopped at the line of scrimmage. A good defensive play. Even though he missed it, Al Bubba Baker was unable to drop him for the loss, but he made it possible for his teammates to prevent a gain, and it was Galloway who made the tackle after a gain of 2.5. Well, we'll call it 3 yards for Matsui.
You know, it's interesting how players, they evaluate their own performance. He was upset with himself because he missed the tackle, rightly so, when you think you can get a guy. But he was the key to busting the play, you know, and so he doesn't get what you call an F on the grade. You got to give him, you know, on fundamentals for making the tackle, you got to penalize him, but he still made the play.
He sure did. Floyd Peters' defense, Floyd Peters' defensive squad, very active 4-down linemen. Now it's a 3rd down play. Nickel defense is in. The ball is dropped by Matsui. Incomplete. He had the first down yardage, but not hold on to the ball. So the Cardinals hold the Bears again, and there is David Galloway, the third-year man from Florida, and he is a load.
Well, he's been hurt. He's back in action, and he causes a little bit of penetration that they weren't getting before. As you can see, the double team, Frederick and Becker was on him, but Frederick ends up with him, but Galloway just keeps it coming, doesn't he?
Sure does. Dave Finzer, his first punt of the afternoon. The Bears have been able to keep the ball, march it down the field, but they turned it over twice on fumbles deep in St. Louis territory. Stump Mitchell is the punt return man. Oh, what a dandy. Backs Mitchell up about 20 yards to the 7-yard line, but watch out for Mitchell. Moorhead wraps him up at the 21, but a good return by the always dangerous Stump Mitchell from Pacific. And so the Cardinals, despite the 52-yard punt by Finzer, have it up out of danger.
Dan, something for your desk.
Vice President.
You earned it.
Today, Chevrolet has something for you, too. Discover Caprice Classic.
Now it's here. Your reward. Just lean back. It's all yours.
Caprice, now even better with electronic fuel injection standard, plus traditional full-size comfort and prestige you've earned.
So this is today's Chevrolet.
Welcome to the club.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
Jerry, Pam's back.
And she's ready to take on the world again, thanks to Liberty Mutual. After her back was seriously injured on the job, a Liberty Mutual rehabilitation nurse worked with Pam's doctor to coordinate her medical care. That also controlled insurance costs, but Pam is the best result. The Liberty Mutual Rehabilitation Nurse Program. One way we're going to be there for you.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the Cardinals have forced the Bears to punt. Mitchell got it to the 21, and the first down pass play to Roy Green is complete for a gain of 6, maybe 7 on the play. And we are approaching halftime with 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining, and you will be seeing scores and highlights with Brendan Irv, and a special feature on coaching, the toughest profession. At least that's what John Madden and Hank Stram, who gave it up to become commentators, are saying about coaching, and you'll get their opinions on that. I would say there are some people in other professions who will probably disagree that coaching is the toughest thing you can do. Let's find out what John and Hank have to say. Second and a long 4, we'll say, for the St. Louis Cardinals. Lomax pumps once and then throws the short one to Tilley, who has a first down at the Cardinal 42. Mike Singletary had the coverage and made the stop. Boy, that 20, and you see Lomax pointing up to the clock, asking Hannafin if he wants him to keep it going here and let it wind down.
Well, they certainly won't get a playoff before halftime, as it goes down to the 2-minute warning.
I would say Jim Hannafin has an Irish mug. He would probably even agree with that. 2-minute warning here in St. Louis. They lead by 3.
This is the hard side of Chicago, where life can be a dead-end street without someone who cares. Hi, I'm Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears, and I know because I grew up in a neighborhood where we didn't have agencies and programs to help keep kids on the right track. But here in Chicago, we do. Let me show you what I mean, guys. Let's see if we can make it to the lake. Let's go for it. It doesn't make any difference what age you are or what neighborhood you live in. Youth agencies like the Wise and Scouting, Campfire, and Big Brothers and Sisters, Boys and Girls Clubs, and others are giving youngsters here in Chicago a chance. We're proud of Chicago and all the United Way agencies that make sure that every kid has a chance to go for it in life. We made it! Thanks to you, it works for all of us. United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
2 minutes to play in this first half, and we have had plenty of action here. The timeout situation, St. Louis with the football has all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The Bears with 2.
Pat Tilley is now out of the game. It looks like he might have hurt his shoulder a little bit, but he is out.
Danny Pittman replacing him, number 85. Pittman just coming out the injured list. joined the roster. Draw play. That is Stump Mitchell, and Mitchell plows for about 7 yards. There's Pat Tilley.
I think it happened on that last catch. He kind of went down on his shoulder, and it looks like it might not be too serious. He's trying to shake the sting of it. I don't know, maybe it's the hand rather than the shoulder.
Second and 4 at the 47.
Well, what a job he has done. Looks like he's going to go off to the locker. Yes, he is, since they're winding down to halftime. 1:28 and counting. Second and a long 3 for the Cardinals. They have the lead, 17-14. Lomax trying to build on it. Swings it out to Mitchell. Mitchell is watched by Al Harris and forced out short of the first down. A gain of, less than a yard on the play. Good defensive reaction by Al Harris, number 90. And coming up to help out the cornerback, number 21, Leslie Frazier. So there'll be virtually no gain. Third down. 1:13 on the clock.
There's Al Harris, has proved a valuable man for the Chicago Bears. Used to be a linebacker, now used to be a defensive end, now a linebacker, but can play defensive end on occasions. The Bears have some banged up people in that defensive line. Let me tell you that Doug Marsh was wide open on the last play. I don't know if he went back and told him.
Third down play for the Cardinals, and the blitz was on. The pass up is intercepted by Sean Gale, intended for Green. Bears had great pressure on Lomax. He threw it earlier than he wanted to. Roy Green had not even turned his head. But Sean Gale, who has been beaten earlier by Roy Green, was ready for that football and made the grab.
You talk about a confidence builder for Sean Gale. As Green never looked, he expected the ball to be further down the field, but Lomax had to throw it sooner than he wanted, and it was Gale who spotted the ball all the way, made his first NFL career interception in a league game, and the Chicago Bears have the ball. Sean Gale with the interception, and there's still time in this half.
Real good pressure causing Lomax to throw it up sooner than he wanted to. It looked like Hampton was there again.
And he really couldn't get all on the ball that he wanted. He was trying to throw it further.
1:05 remaining for the Bears to try and do something from their 20-yard line. Saldi, the tight end, in motion off the wing. Play action. Sideliner Galt. Galt can't get out. At the 40-yard line, he has a first down.
What a nice pattern by Willie Galt. Did he drive Washington off? Fundamental deep stop pattern. It was perfect. That's the best pattern I've ever seen Willie Galt run, right there.
Lionel Washington made the tackle. 43 seconds and counting. They're at the 40-yard line of Chicago. Straight drop for McMahon. Short pass to Suey. He's hit immediately by Junior and got nothing on the play. Lee Nelson getting in on the tackle, and the Bears call timeout with 32 seconds remaining.
Timeout number 2 for Chicago.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals and the National Football League is prohibited. If I give Suey a yard on that play, it'll be 2nd and 9. 32 seconds to play. Cardinals lead by 3, and the word on Tilley is that it is his left arm, and we're not certain of the severity. He has gone to the Cardinals locker room for repairs. Earlier in the game, they lost starting strong safety Leonard Smith. We did not get an official report on Smith, but he did not return that we have noticed, at least. Lee Nelson has been in for him. Bears have been going without Tyrone Keys, their starting defensive right end. He's been replaced ably by Richard Dent. And, of course, Mike Richardson is out with his broken bone in his wrist, and that has Sean Gale in the lineup as a starter. Burned early by Roy Green. He has just intercepted to stop the Cardinals' drive. Nickelback Bill Kay is in for the Cardinals on 2nd and 9. McMahon is going to be sacked. David Galloway fighting off Mark Bortz to put the grab on McMahon as he stepped up into the pocket. A loss of 4 will bring up 3rd down and 25 seconds remaining. Payton leaps over a fallen blocker, but is met by Junior after a gain of 5, and that's going to finish up the first half here in St. Louis. So we have had an entertaining half of football, with the St. Louis Cardinals in a seesaw affair coming away at halftime with a 3-point lead, 17-14. Stay with us. This one looks like it's going to be a dandy. St. Louis territory have the Cardinals in front.
Anytime you fumble down in deep in their territory twice like that, they could have had 2 touchdowns. That's going to make a difference in the game. But I don't see too much change in strategy by either team. They're moving the ball fairly well, except that we might see Walter Payton carry a little bit more. He's only carried 9 times and for 50 yards, which isn't a bad average. But he has not been the biggest factor for the Bears in the offense so far. He may carry a little bit more.
Lomax passing the ball well. McMahon showing that hand is not bothering him too badly. I think we're going to have some more fireworks in the second half at Busch Stadium. And we'll be back for the start of the second half in just a moment.
The insulation is ready, and the time is now. It's all up to you to beat those high home heating and air conditioning costs. So get rolling. Add an extra layer of Owens Corning Pink Attic Blanket Insulation and score energy savings. If you act now, you'll get a free warm-up jacket with the emblem of your favorite NFL team. A great offer, only from Owens Corning.
You know, a quarterback can't afford a breakdown in protection. That's why I use protection of Conoco motor oil in my car. Now, it can't prevent all your engine problems, but it might surprise you to know that in millions of miles of everyday use, the formulation of premium Conoco motor oils has never caused an engine breakdown. My protection just never quit. Conoco, products that protect.
Ah, the joys of watching football on the Sony. What a picture, what a game. What about the rest of your family? Remember them? They have to use the other set, the one without the exclusive Trinitron picture, the one without the patented one-gun, one-lens system, the one that isn't a Sony. But do you care about your second set? Nah, you don't really need another Sony, do you? Or do you?
We are back in St. Louis, Missouri, and we have had a sunny afternoon despite forecasts of rain. Just a light breeze as the Cardinals kick it off. O'Donohue, the Bears to our right. Jack Cameron from the 2-yard line. Breaks 1 tackle, gets to the 20. And the Chicago Bears will start from there. Well, appearances can be deceiving, or clock faces can, perhaps. We've now got the official stats, and you can see that by the end of the half, the Cardinals had actually wound up with 16:35 in possession. The Bears had it for 13:25. Certainly until late in the second period, the Bears had the ball by some margin. But as we pointed out, when they got into Cardinal territory, they were unable to do much with it. Now, in the total yards, they outgained the Cardinals 257-189, but they trail on the scoreboard, which is still the only place that counts. 17-14, Cardinals lead. Chicago first down from their 20. McMahon 9 of 13 in the first half. Walter Payton, and he has 6, maybe 7 yards. The ball came loose just as the whistle blew. So while the Cardinals recovered it, it will be Chicago possession. E.J. Jr. and Lee Nelson made the tackle.
Payton has a string of 5 straight games where he has rushed for over 100 yards. He had 775 going into this game, which is a pace equal to O.J. Simpson when he set the rushing record and rushed for over 2,000 yards one season. Here it is, as you see Payton down, and it looks like he's down on the ground. Obviously he was before the ball came loose.
Lee Nelson continues to play for the injured Leonard Smith, who left early in the game on a tackle of Walter Payton that forced him out of the game with a yet undetermined injury, at least unreported injury. Matt Suey trying for first down yardage, gets to the 30-yard line, appears to be about a yard short. Should bring up third and less than a yard for Chicago at their own 30-yard line. Galloway and Allerman making the tackle for St. Louis, and they have been 2 very significant factors defensively through the first half of this football game.
Jay Salty just brought in the play. The tight ends are generally bringing him in, and Mike Ditka is calling the plays himself now. He has gone back and forth 2 or 3 times over the last couple of years on deciding whether he should call the plays or not. Now he wants to call them.
Stafford Mays is in at right tackle for Elo Grooms defensively. Mays is 76. Payton in motion. Diving for it is McMahon, and he has the first down. The 33-yard line. Just a chance to mention we have visited at halftime with a remarkable young man who is in our booth with us at the moment. His name is Jeff Keith, and he just graduated from Boston College. And he has lost a leg to cancer and is making a run across the country. And he's currently in Jefferson City, Missouri. Took a little time out to come up and see the game today. He's en route from the East Coast to the West Coast. And it is quite a wonderful story, and his hope to earn some more funds for the American Cancer Society. Quite a remarkable young man. Enjoying the football action today. This is Payton, and he is wrapped up after a gain of about 2. A good solid tackle made by Stafford Mays, number 76.
Payton, the ball carrier. Tackle by Stafford Mays.
That'll bring up second down and 7 yards to go for a first down. Well, you pointed out that you thought the Bears might use Walter Payton a little more frequently in the second half of play, and that's what they've been doing so far.
Is that Rusty Lish?
Just come into the game. I didn't see Payton leave. I didn't see McMahon leave the game.
So Rusty Lish has come on now. We'll try and check out that for you.
Rusty Lish, who joined the Bears from the Cardinals about a month ago. Flags down everywhere as Lish was dropped back at the 25 by Al Baker. But flag was down before Baker arrived.
Now Rusty Lish
Number 71
played for the Cardinals here for the first part of his career and was picked up by the Bears after the last cut and came to Chicago. Has been in a couple of games, but obviously is still learning the Bears system. And I think Jim McMahon is in this group, and I don't remember, I didn't see him get hit or anything, did you?
No, it had to be on the play in which he handed off to Walter Payton, who got 3 yards on that first down play, because Lish came in right after that. Now, what happened to McMahon, we can only speculate at this point. He is, of course, playing with a broken bone, a fractured bone, more correctly, in his right throwing hand. He might have gotten stepped on, or who knows. This is Payton. Payton trying to get wide, and again, excellent defensive work. Howard stringing him out, number 59, and getting an ankle grab on him. And Walter Payton has not been able to shake loose here on the ground, and evidently McMahon is about ready to come right back in. So whatever the injury was, it was temporary. Maybe he
could have been equipment.
Yeah, could have been equipment, or if he had a hand problem, he might have gotten a little medical attention for it. He has been taking pain-killing shots for the last 3 weeks.
How would you like to take one right there on the sidelines?
Oh, boy. Well,
they don't do that very often.
He is a game guy. Third down and 9. Payton has some room. First down. Straight arms his way to the 47-yard line. And Benny Perrin forced him out there. Number 23.
Okay, nice run by the Chicago Bears. You're going to see Mark Bortz, the offensive left guard, pulling out in front here and provides the key block for Payton to be able to cut back. Now here comes Bortz. He's number 62. He throws the block on Wayne Smith. Payton cuts up the field, and now notice the punishment he gives the tackler. Payton will switch the ball, give the forearm, and look at that straight arm right into Benny Perrin, and gets a couple of extra yards. That's what we talk about, punishing the tackler. He is an offensive ball carrier in more ways than one.
He is quietly up to 75 yards on 14 carries. First down, Chicago. Payton again, short side, cuts it upfield. Nice tripping tackle by E.J. Jr., and I don't mean that he tripped him with a foot, because he did not. He got a hand on him, but tripped up Payton with a diving effort. Still for Payton, 3 more yards.
Okay, let's watch E.J. Jr., who just kind of tripped him up as Payton was cutting back inside and was going to go for the big gain. Here comes Jr., 54. Now Payton will cut back, and he just will dive down there and just get a hand on his foot and knock him down. Good play by E.J. Jr.
2nd and 7 right at the midfield stripe. 10:28 remaining third quarter. Cardinals lead by 3, 17-14. Bears staying on the ground as Payton took a lick and kept on ticking for about 2 more yards, but Junior really got a good smash at him.
Well, he blitzed right into the hole that time as he came from outside inside, and did he fill the hole? It was really predetermined. Watch him come through here, and here comes the run, and there it is. Payton looked up and he said, there I am, I got you. EJ, 2 big plays in a row, and the Bears are down to a 3rd down and about 6 situation. A normally passing situation for most teams, but not necessarily when you have a Walter Payton.
Floyd Peters, the defensive coordinator of the Cardinals, does not use a lot of fancy fronts or window dressing, but he does, as you have seen, stunt his linebackers and linemen. McMahon gets it out, complete to Saldi, trying to reach for the first down. The ball came loose, but it was already whistled dead. And that makes the Cardinals and their fans unhappy. McMahon is also unhappy because he thinks it may be short of the first down.
Well, Saldi reached out and tried to touch that ball down at the first down marker, and as he touched it down, it kind of got away. It's very close.
Lee Nelson had the pressure from a safety blitz on McMahon, who did not get off a good throw. And that made it a little more difficult for Saldi to try to get to the marker. He had to wait for the ball, reach down for a low throw. But he got it. So let's credit Jay Saldi with a job well done.
Okay, here's Saldi making the grab. And here comes Howard to make the tackle. And there is Saldi reaching out, trying to get that ball down there, and he did get it down, and they say the ball or the ground cannot force a fumble. And if you're ever in doubt about whether a back fumbles or a receiver, that's your rule.
So the Bears have first down at the 43-yard line of St. Louis. Their opening offensive series in the second half. Calvin Thomas is in at fullback on the wing. Payton dives for about 5. Following Jimbo Covert, number 74, and Thomas, who blocked off the wing.
I believe Walter did a little cartwheel that time.
Number 75, Curtis Greer, made the tackle on him, and Payton lost his helmet on the play. Not too often you get to see a player without his helmet on.
Well, he uses that sweatband, and that obviously is to, one reason is to help your sweat inside that helmet, and he doesn't want it coming down his face, and that sweatband will absorb it.
Second and 5 as the wave begins again in Busch Stadium, trying to exhort the St. Louis defense. Payton has been the workhorse here in this second half. He picks up 3, maybe 4 more before Greer and Lee Nelson, with E.J. Jr., who has been tracking him like Bulldog Drummond.
I think what we're seeing here is a case of Mike Ditka not wanting to get into a track meet with the St. Louis Cardinals, passing up and down the field. And his way to get away from that is to run Payton and try and control the ball, eat up the clock, and then hope for a couple of drives and get a couple of touchdowns. Any coach, as you look at this St. Louis Cardinal offense, you say, hey, you're not going to try and match him TD pass for TD pass, so you got to keep the ball away from him.
3rd and less than a yard. Matt Suhey has the first down to the 31-yard line. And the word on Jim McMahon leaving for a play was indeed that he received another pain-killing shot into that bad hand while he was on the sideline.
And that tells you why there were a lot of players around McMahon, because they didn't, it's the aura of getting a shot. They didn't want the public or the fans to see some doctor, see Dr. Fassier sticking him with a needle, but it happens in the NFL. There's no question about that.
Allerman and Lee Nelson made that tackle on Suhey, but Suhey has the first down for the Bears at the 31, who have been grinding it out, mainly with Walter Payton doing the grinding. McMahon's got running room, and he'll take it. And he strips right through. McMahon to the 1-yard line, nearly got into the end zone. And again made that decision not to worry about his health, instead to worry about getting into the end zone. And he nearly did. A 30-yard run.
And did you see him turn on the speed? He has got good speed for a quarterback, as McMahon just rolls out this side, looks down the field, and takes off, and it was Allerman, 51, who had the shot at him, but he missed him coming right across here, and McMahon just turned on down the field. A good block there. I didn't see who threw that block.
Walter Payton.
Was it Walter Payton that threw that block? Okay, let's watch Sweetness, 34. He's leading the way. Say, come on, Jim, follow me. And McMahon does, and here comes Payton, 34, to throw his block on Howard. And McMahon almost got to the end zone, throws his body. It's down to the 1-yard line. The Bears knocking on the door.
Suey diving, touchdown. Again, a remarkable amount of noise from Bears fans who are in attendance here in St. Louis. Now, we're not that far from the city of Chicago, but on the other hand, it seems to be disproportionately noisy for the visiting team.
The old simple dive play, a handoff to Matt Suey, straight ahead blocking, up and over, a la Walter Payton, and Suey gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago.
5:43 is all that's remaining in this third quarter as the Bears' grinded out offense has used up a lot of the clock. Thomas for the point after. So Chicago has retaken the lead. We've got ourselves an outstanding football game. The Bears lead 21-17.
All truck companies talk tough, but only one puts its money where its mouth is. Dodge. Because only Dodge gives you a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty on engine, powertrain, and outer body rust-through. It covers new 85 full-size pickups, wagons, vans, and Ram Chargers, making Dodge the best back trucks in America. That's guaranteed.
Us syncopators of Progressive Ribs have a unique style of jawing.
Howard says jazz musicians talk funny.
And after a gig, I finger pop with a light beer from Miller.
After playing, Howard enjoys a light beer.
Light is super cool and a breeze on the calories, you dig.
Light is less filling, with a third less calories than their regular beer. And the taste, Howard?
Oh, man, it's Obop Shaban. It's lay down, break down, birdie on the hot side of town.
He likes it.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
They've already done the hard part. All we have to do is vote.
We are back where Bob Thomas Finzer, has just kicked off for the Chicago Bears, and Mitchell on a tear out close to the 30-yard line. And it was Dunsmore, number 88, who puts the stop on him there, as Mitchell, every time he brings it upfield, looks like he might go all the way. We'll be right back.
No company can simply deliver a computer and feel it has delivered on the promise of office automation. At Wang, we provide service and support along with our computers so that the people who use them will always be able to perform to their fullest potential. Wang, we put people in front of computers.
Dodge announces the toughest truck warranty in America. 5 years or 50,000 miles, covering transmissions, drive shafts, blocks, heads, flywheels, transfer cases, axles, U-joints, water pumps, all internal engine parts, and outer body rust-through on every truck we build. Ford and Chevy talk tough. Dodge proves it. Dodge, the best back trucks in America. That's guaranteed.
Back in St. Louis, where the Bears went 79 yards in 14 plays and used up 9:17 of this third period on the clock before Suey took it in. Walter Payton carried 8 times for 38 yards in that drive. Lomax on first down, intended for Tilley, incomplete, 2nd and 10. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, the Falcons are trying to climb back in against the Giants. First possession, beautiful spin by Gerald Riggs, 16-7. But now the Giants have just forced Atlanta to punt. Let's go back to Tim and Johnny.
All right, so the Giants rebounding from Monday night's disaster. 2nd and 10 here in St. Louis. Cardinals with the football. Peyton now has 88 yards on 18 carries for the Bears. And here is his counterpart, Otis Anderson.
Boy, did Mike Singletary get in there and just jam up things. You know, the Cardinals have to approach it a little different when you're going against a defense like the Bears. You can't do what the Bears did to St. Louis, go down the field with Peyton and a rushing game. The way you got to beat the Bears or to score on the Bears is you got to throw on them. You got to throw on them in certain situations, because one thing about the Bear defense is you don't run 10 yards a clip. You're going to get 15, then you're going to get stopped twice for losses, and then you're going to get 20 on a pass or something like that. And that's the way the Cardinals have to approach it.
Otis Anderson got 5 on that play. It's 3rd down, and the pass is complete to Roy Green. Green has a 1st down in Bear territory.
Okay, you can see the jam. Leslie Frazier is jamming Roy Green as Roy goes through the pick and then clears, and there's no linebackers. That's because the Bears, the way they play their defense, they go to corners, they help people out, they blitz, whatever it is, nobody over the middle. Roy Green comes up with a big play. That's the way you move the ball against the Bears.
22 yards they moved it, and next Sunday on the NFL Today, there'll be a special feature on the Cardinals Game Breakers, and followed by this action. Cardinals at home to Washington. Chicago at Tampa Bay. 1st down in Chicago territory. Otis Anderson trying to get wide. He does. Dances and batters his way close to the 30-yard line, and another Cardinal 1st down. Al Harris and Todd Bell finally stopped him. And Anderson up to about 45 yards on the day.
Well, he got the interference out in front of him, and there were a couple of missed tackles as Anderson did a good job of playing off the blocks and watching, keeping his eyes open. You'll see Fensick gets over there. Hartenstein, 73, gets over. Fensick will miss right here, and Otis Anderson cuts back, gets a couple of extra yards, and St. Louis in good shape now.
44 yards for Anderson, to be precise, on 11 carries thus far. 1st down, Cardinals in Bears territory. Up the middle, a pass complete to Green. Cut from behind by Bell, but they're at the 2-yard line. $29-yard gain.
Now you know why the Chicago Bears don't want to get into a track meet with the St. Louis Cardinals. Sean Gale on the outside as Green will go down and then just releases across through the coverage. And then there are people to pick him up there, but Todd Bell was a little bit late. No help for Sean Gale there as Green turns it on, and Bell makes the tackle from behind, but not before the St. Louis Cardinals get down to the 1.5-yard line. He is something else, isn't he?
The converted defensive back who has become a premier wide receiver. Roy Green, 1st and goal from the 2. Lomax will throw. Broken up nicely by Todd Bell. A flag is down. Randy Love, the intended receiver. Fensick quick to jump on the official, saying, hey, don't call that on Bell. He made a great play. Let's see how the officials view it.
Interference, number 25 on the defense. 1st and goal on the line.
Interference. Well, you know, that doesn't hurt you too much here because you can only go 1 more yard on a half the distance to the goal line penalty.
Okay, you can see Bell and Love right there. There's obviously some contact there before the ball got there. The interesting thing about that was the play that was called on the 1.5-yard line.
I love that call.
Lomax rolling out there. I mean, to take a chance on a sack being back on your 8-yard line, that's football.
Yeah, I like that call. 1st and goal, so they got the 1st down on the play. They got another opportunity to have 4 of them here.
Again.
Again, he's going to throw. He's got a man open. Touchdown. Flag down on the play. Flag down on the play. And Todd Bell is very upset. It might be against the Bears, so the Cardinals will get to keep their touchdown if that's the case. Bell was blitzing this time.
Unnecessary roughing the passer, number 25. Touchdown, 15 yards on the kickoff.
Todd Bell is charged with roughing Neil Lomax. That'll be assessed on the kickoff, so O'Donohue will get a 15-yard gain.
Well, let's watch Todd Bell. He's number 25 as Lomax calls the same play. Little fake of the handoff and the rollout, and boom, there goes the hit after he threw the ball. I didn't think it was all that much of a violation, did you? Looked like he was in the air before the ball was thrown. There it is, 25 hits him from behind.
Close call. O'Donohue. So the Cardinals have retaken the lead. What a game we've got. 70 yards in 6 plays, 24-21 Cardinals.
It starts with a subtle glance. The enticement of discovering something wondrously new. The Dodge Aries K. Sleek new styling that will captivate you. Performance that will infatuate you. You always knew Aries for economy. Now you'll love it for its beauty. And now you'll know how it feels to be seduced by Dodge Aries.
What gets America moving when the weather turns cold? Presto. What keeps football heroes on the go?
Prestone. Why does your car need a fresh fill of Prestone? A radiator could look this bad after just 10,000 miles of driving on weak, neglected antifreeze, while a Prestone radiator looks this good. That's the Prestone difference.
What gets the country set for winter from New York to San Antonio? America goes with Prestone.
Wednesday, Charlton Heston, the father. John Savage, the son. Maude Adams, the woman who married one but loved the other. Nairobi Affair.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, where happy Neil Lomax has just thrown yet another touchdown pass. And the club record is 16 consecutive games with a touchdown pass thrown by the great Jim Hart.
They'll be kicking off from the 50-yard line.
That's right, the 15-yard penalty assessed against Todd Bell, as we see that the Cardinals use 3:33 off the clock. And this one is just a little popper taken by Cameron at the 6-yard line. He's hit at the 15. I don't know whether Lomax intended, or rather O'Donohue intended that.
He sure did.
If he did, it sure worked because their coverage was excellent.
Well, when you're down kicking from the 50, you might as well kick a high one and hope that maybe somebody drops the ball, because it doesn't do any good to boom it into the end zone. And I think what the Cardinals might be arguing about right now is that the Bears signaled for a fair catch and somebody ran with the ball.
Well, coming up next, of course, we'll be going right to one of these two games. Most of you will see the Redskins
Signal was
and the
given
Cowboys.
for a fair catch. The ball is dead. We're called first down and 10.
Yes, one of the receivers signaled for a fair catch, which you can do on a kickoff return, but then you can't take off and run. And so the ball is going to be back at the 6-yard line, and that makes a difference of a few yards, doesn't it?
Boy, does it ever. That worked out superbly for the St. Louis Cardinals, because they had the 15-yard gain already. And again, just in case you missed it, seconds ago when we told you, be sure and stay tuned for Dallas at Washington or Minnesota at the Raiders. Lots more football ahead on CBS Sports. Big games. Bears first down from their own 6-yard line. Payton is stacked up. And that is E.J. Jr. who wrapped him up. Allerman made the initial contact. And it seems to have been the mission of Allerman and Jr. to personally make sure they get something of Walter Payton on every carry. They have done an outstanding job, even though he is over the 80-yard mark, up to 88 yards on the day.
Stafford Mays was also in on that play. He made a good play.
It is second down and 9 after the 1-yard pickup. The ball at the 7-yard line, and a roused St. Louis crowd appreciating the defensive work. And their team in front by 3.
Man for man on the corners.
And complete for a first down. McKinnon took the hit, hung on to the ball. He took quite a rap from Lionel Washington, number 48.
The way the St. Louis Cardinals are playing their defense, you could run this all night with McKinnon and Galt. You got a man-for-man situation, at least from the 18-yard group. You turn in, and it's duck soup as long as the timing is there. Duck soup.
First down at the 21-yard line. And we finally got a medical report on Leonard Smith, the starting strong safety. Suffered a sore knee in his tackle of Walter Payton back in the first quarter. Lee Nelson has been in there since that time. First down. Flared out to Suey. Suey bangs his way up off the tackle of Lee Nelson for a gain of close to 9 yards.
Matt Suey is the number 1 receiver for the Chicago Bears, and Peyton, I believe, was number 2. Past 2 or 3 years, Peyton and Suey have been the leading receivers on this team, so that gives you an idea of the style of the Bear offense.
Suey had 18 catches coming in. Walter Payton had 17. In fact, he needs only 12 more to catch our Johnny Morris for the Bear career reception record. That was coming into today's game. 2nd and a yard for Chicago. And there was motion and whistles and flags.
Andy Frederick may have moved too soon. Somebody moved on the right side of the Bear line.
Time winding down, 3rd quarter, 25 seconds remaining.
False start, number 71 of the offense, still 2nd down.
Andy Frederick was the guilty party, number 71, getting the start for the injured Keith Van Horn, who's been bothered with a hamstring, has missed the last couple of weeks. And that backs up the Bears, making a 2nd and 6, just inside their 25. Matt Suey's got 4 catches today for 45 yards. Just updating you on Johnny's reference to his pass receiving. So he now has 22 on the season. 2nd and 6.
Wayne Smith covering Galt.
Pitch out Payton, and that is buried by the Cardinals. Just stripped everything out that right side, the left defensive side. And it was Stafford Mays who got Payton behind the line, number 76. So we're going to wind up the 3rd quarter here with the Bears 3rd and 9 from their own 22. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Cardinals 24, the Bears 21. We pause for a word from your local station.
Next Saturday, a twin bill of college football. Big Ten rivals Michigan and Iowa clash, and UCLA battles California next Saturday on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
Walter is a worrier, worrying about how all the money in his company's pension fund is doing. Investments do have their ups and downs. He could let the travelers worry about it. We think, to be fair, the people who depend on us should get the best. So we've gotten in some of the best financial minds in the business. So far, they've made us one of the top 10 pension fund managers in the country. So Walter went with the Travelers and relaxed happily ever after. At the Travelers, we believe fairness is good business.
With call forwarding from Illinois Bell, just dial a simple code and a number where you'll be, and you'll never miss important calls.
Hello? Fishing tomorrow? Sure, I know a great little spot. Hello? No, the car's not sold yet, but I'm getting some nibbles. Hello? Dinner? I'd love to, Mom, but I think I'm catching something.
Keeping in touch is a touch easier with call forwarding from Illinois Bell.
Continental Bank is making a major commitment. Each week, we plan to set our money market account rates higher than the money market fund average. Higher rates. Oh, and that's not the end of it. It's just the beginning. We've also developed a 6-month Continental Investment Certificate with an option to renew for another 6 months at the same high rate. You can't lose. And it's just the beginning. Promise.
An expanded Sports Extra tonight at 10.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris. We are in Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Bears had the ball for 11:17 of the 3rd period. St. Louis for only 3:33, but they exchanged touchdowns, and the Cardinals still lead by 3 points. 3rd down and 9, Chicago. McMahon. A wobbly pass intended for McKinnon, incomplete, 4th down. Now, whether that was because of the injury to his hand, we're not sure. He stepped up into traffic and may have just been hit, and now you see him holding his hand as he goes off.
Stafford Mays is all over the place for St. Louis. He has really become a force in this 3rd quarter. Number 76 for the St. Louis Cardinals. There he is. He likes to knock those quarterbacks down and help them up. I'm always suspicious of guys like that.
Dave Finzer has punted only once today. He boomed a 52-yarder. And he gets a good one here. Backing up Mitchell, backing him up to the 27. What a hit from Brian Cabral, number 54, at the Cardinals' 37-yard line. Well, now St. Louis has the ball and the lead as we are just underway in the fourth quarter.
For 1985, Colt, the Japanese car famous for quality, economy, and performance, now comes with a great new addition, 4 doors.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
The Colt is imported for Dodge and Plymouth and built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Colt, it's all the Japanese you need to know.
Murray. I have taken on many fighters and tried many beers. One beer isn't a class by itself. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great, and it's less filling. It weighs in at a third less calories than the regular beer. Yes, I discovered your greatest beer, but I never met your greatest fighter. Hey, who is this Billy Martin anyway?
Billy Martin? He's warm, he's gentle, good looking, too.
I got to meet this guy.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris back here in St. Louis. An absolutely beautiful afternoon for a beautiful football game. Well played. The Bears, with a now sizable margin in time of possession, as we mentioned in that third period, they had it for nearly 12 minutes to nearly a little more than 3 minutes for St. Louis. But the Cardinals lead the game. On first down, Otis Anderson hit by Mike Singletary after a gain of only a yard. Once again, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, Jeff Kemp is just tearing the Saints defense apart. Watch him on one of the toughest plays in football. Running hard to the left, he throws a touchdown pass to Ron Brown, and now the Rams are all over the Saints, 28-3. Back to Tim.
So the New Orleans Saints, losers last week, really getting pounded by the Rams, and quite an afternoon for Jeff Kemp and company. Notice Nolan Cromwell scored a touchdown for the Rams with an interception. 2nd and 9 for the Cardinals, and McMichael got a piece of Lomax, who did a fine job to throw the ball intended in the direction of Earl Farrell, and nearly wound up with a completion. And again, the size of Lomax, 6'3", 210-pounder, showing that he can exert a little muscle there. McMichael had a pretty good rap on him.
He certainly did, and actually Farrell should have had the ball. Hit him right in the hands. As number 76, McMichael, comes through. Lomax is on his way down and does a good job of getting the ball off. Steve McMichael, the old rattlesnake hunter.
3rd down and 9. Now it gets to be crunch time here. Cardinals want to keep the football. Lomax under pressure, has a man open. Stump Mitchell, flags down. Mitchell is stopped by Leslie Frazier at the 37-yard line, and he may have grabbed him by the face mask. Let's see. Big play by Lomax in a big situation. The first kind of really important play of the game, because the Cardinals did not want to give the ball back to the Bears grind them out offense.
Number 21, 15 yards, first down.
24-yard gain plus.
And Lomax shows a nice ability to feel that rush and to move around in the pocket. He does a good job here, spots him over the middle, and Mitchell is off to the races. Actually, had he gotten around Frazier, he could have gone for big yardage, but Frazier reached out, put the old grab on the face mask, and they determined that was intentional, and so it's 15 yards instead of 5 yards.
Big play for the St. Louis Cardinals. Down to the 23. The Bears continue to hurt themselves with penalties. They've now taken 10 for about 75 yards. Lomax, 12 of 19, 248 yards. Roy Green in motion behind the ball. Otis Anderson cuts it upfield. Look at him dig and drive. Jim Hanna Hannafin said Otis Anderson has become a leader these past 2 seasons. Well, Jim Hart and Dan Deerdorf were still here. They were the veterans looked up on as the leaders of the team. Anderson kind of shy, didn't want to take charge, but now that this is the young team that is led by Lomax at quarterback, leadership has been exhibited by Otis Anderson, and he has been off to an outstanding start this season. Fensick and Wilson finally stopped him, but he may have picked up the first down, and he did. Anderson to the Bears' 13-yard line.
The Bears have certainly hurt themselves penalty-wise. They now have 10 penalties. 10 penalties in this football game. 13:24 left in the game. St. Louis up 24-21.
Anderson now has 55 yards rushing on 13 carries, and he got tough yardage on a key play there. Cardinals, with a score here, can take command of this football game. They lead 24-21, and oh, what a job by Hampton. Dan Hampton had the quarterback and the running back at the same time.
You got to give him 2 for the price of 1, huh?
What a defensive. That is an incredible play.
Okay, let's watch for big number 99 as he comes across the line of scrimmage. Nobody hits him. He grabs Lomax and says, "Hey, Otis, you're not going anywhere either." Boy, he's like a mountain in there, isn't he?
Really an incredible play by Dan Hampton.
This is a big defensive stand for the Bears. If they can hold the Cardinals to a field goal, they would only be down by 6.
Loss of 7 yards on the play. Second down. Back out near the 20. Lomax rolling. Just got it away. It's going to be intercepted. No, knocked down by Sean Gale. Sean Gale had the ball in his hands. Might have started to run with it. Singletary was there as well. And we'll see what happened on the play, but Gale had a great chance to catch the ball. They might have just collided as the ball came down.
And believe it or not, he would have had some running room had he hung on to that ball, even though he was down on his own goal line. As Lomax rolls out, and the pressure comes from Hampton from behind 99, and Lomax just puts it up there shooting for Marsh, number 80. Marsh is tripped up, and Sean Gale cannot hang on to the ball.
So it is third down at the 19-yard line. About Mike Hartenstein, there was some talk that he might not start today because of his bad ribs. He's been in there all day long. His 138th consecutive start with the Chicago Bears. Out of the shotgun, Lomax off to Mitchell. Mitchell can't get away from Dave Dewerson, number 22. Leslie Frazier there, number 21. So now the field goal unit comes on. Neil O'Donoghue has a 44-yarder to his credit. He scored the opening points on the first offensive series of the game. So that was a big stoppage. Even if the Bears give up 3 here, they'd still be within a touchdown difference. Converted touchdown would put them back in front. So even if they hold them to a field goal, they will have done a good job here.
And one play did it for him. Hampton getting across the line of scrimmage to put him in the passing situation.
31-yard try by O'Donoghue on the hash mark. And it's blocked. A huge defensive play for the Bears. I was watching Al Harris, who was waving his arms trying to distract O'Donoghue from behind the line of scrimmage.
It might have been Jim Osborne that got through.
It looks like Osborne. It looks like he hurt himself. Let's hope it's not serious. Don't want to see players of either team hurt, and the Cardinals had already lost Leonard Smith early in the game with a knee injury.
Boy, the penetration came right up the middle.
There's Harris waving his arms.
And here comes Jim Osborne, number 68, and somebody else there. I don't know which one of them hit it, but there were 2 of them.
Sean Gale came diving across from the outside. Let's try it from this angle.
That's Todd Bell, 25. And Sean Gale, yes. 68 and 23, both there.
So a big blocked field goal try. We'll be right back.
You know people like me. We're young, ambitious. These are the uniforms we wear at work. But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the National Guard and the Reserves. You see, in the Guard and Reserves, you earn extra money. So you not only serve your country, you serve yourself. Yet while you serve, you can live at home and keep your full-time job. Because in the Guard and Reserves, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The National Guard and the Reserves. Talk to your local recruiter.
When Lotus introduced 123 software, it became the talk of the business world. And 123 quickly took its rightful place at the top of the PC software sales charts. But people said,
Lotus, what are you doing for an encore?
Lotus announces Symphony. 123 and new Symphony software from Lotus. One great idea after another.
Well, somebody else's opinion, despite our looking at about 10 replays, is that it was Sean Gale. Now, I don't know how they can make that official, but I thought it was Gale, too, diving in. Osborne was right there. First down, Bears. And Walter Payton picks up about a yard to the 21.
Let's let the viewer be the judge. 68 comes up the middle. That's Osborne. 23, Sean Gale, will come diving from the right side of your screen. Which one, or should we give them both half credit? As they both come in there.
Hard to say.
It's hard to say. But it was blocked, and the Bears are down by 3, and the Cardinals are starting to stack up on Payton quite a bit as you look at Jim Osborne. Since he got hurt, maybe we ought to give him the credit. His first field goal block.
Cardinals have 2 of those this season. They came early in the season. Art Plunkett getting both of them. Big 6'7" offensive lineman. Suey is trapped behind the line. And it was David Galloway diving in there to make the tackle. And a reminder that next week we'll have a college doubleheader for you. Big Ten action, the Wolverines of Michigan and the Hawkeyes of Iowa, followed by the Bruins of UCLA against California in a Pac-10 game. Television's best college football continues next Saturday, beginning at noon Eastern Time here on CBS Sports. 3 wide receivers, Bashmagle joining McKinnon and Galt on 3rd and 11. So the St. Louis defense rises up as the Bears just did. Bill Kay is in as the nickelback, number 22 for St. Louis. McMahon on the quarterback draw, and he is stopped by E.J. Jr. Jr. reacted beautifully. So the Bears will have to punt.
That was a planned draw. The Bears, knowing the ferocity of their rush the last quarter or so, decided to try the quarterback draw, but E.J. Jr., number 54, would not be fooled. Stafford Mays, Curtis Greer on there, too.
Finzer's punt, short. Mitchell fielding at the 45, dives inside the 50 in the Bears' territory. Dan Raines came up with the football, but the officials say it belongs to St. Louis. 9:09 to play regulation time. Cardinals by 3, 24-21.
Pontiac. It's brand new. It's from Pontiac, and it's called Grand Am. The latest in Pontiac road car technology, Grand Am is a true driver's coupe. That means it's built for drivers who appreciate engineering excellence as well as exciting road machinery. You know who you are. Grand Am, new from Pontiac, only from Pontiac.
We build excitement.
Pontiac.
Dick, send this by Emery to Pittsburgh. And if it's not there by 10:30 tomorrow, I'm holding you personally responsible.
Send this by airborne to San Diego. And if it's not there by 10:30 a.m., Dick, you're in big trouble.
Send this by Purelator to Seattle. And it better get there by 10:30, Dick.
If you were in Dick's shoes, you'd probably do what Dick's going to do.
Hello, Federal.
Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
The daring of Stump Mitchell cost him on that punt return. He left limping. They're attending to his leg. First down, St. Louis, as Mitchell got them inside the 50 to the Bears' 48. Lomax, sideliner, Green, incomplete. A little bit high, tried to one-hand it, and he took a pretty good shot from Leslie Frazier, and Green is slow to get up. Green has 5 catches on the day, 149 yards. A flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. in the Cardinal backfield.
It's going to go against St. Louis.
Holding, number 68 on the offense. Still first down.
Red Cashin charges Terry Steve with holding. 1st and 20, St. Louis. Lomax is 13 of 22, 254 yards and a touchdown.
Okay, 68 was called for the holding, and he's right at the right side of your screen there as he holds Richard Dent, 95.
1st and 20, 9:07 remaining regulation time. Marsh and LaFleur, double tight ends for St. Louis. Lomax, deep. Good coverage by the Bears. The ball overthrown, intended for Greg LaFleur, getting the tight end downfield. First time we've seen that today. Well, let's wait a minute. Was that Green? No, it was LaFleur, yes. And on the coverage deep was the safety Todd Bell.
There's Stump Mitchell, number 30. Looks like he's putting his helmet on. He's ready for action again. He was real aggressive on that last punt return. Caught it on the run, moving forward, and took a pretty solid hit. 2nd down and long yardage.
2nd and 20 from the 42 of the St. Louis Cardinals. They approach the 9-minute mark to go.
Now Green's in the slot this time.
Pressure. Hampton again. Got the pass off beautifully to Green. Green away from Gale. Short of the first down, but into Bear territory at the 42-yard line. Outstanding effort by Lomax.
Yes, for spotting Green, who was in the slot that time. He had Gale covering, and he went across like he was going across the field and cut back, and Lomax adjusted in the pocket and caught him. Now, Green will be number 81 to the right of your screen, and he may come into this picture. No, he's already made it. There he goes, and you can see 23 chasing him. That's Sean Gale, and here comes the move, maybe the move of the day, as Gale goes right on by like two trains passing in the night, and Green takes it up almost to the first down marker. 6 catches for Roy Green now.
A nice moment. Hampton and Lomax having a word for each other and exchanging pats on the butt for an afternoon in which they have become quite well acquainted. Hampton has been in there visiting with Lomax all afternoon. 3rd down and 4. Loose ball. Lomax gets it off, intended for Green. It deflected and was nearly intercepted. And an official went flying on the play. Looked like Art Demas. Is it number 78? Yeah, Art Demas went down there, and shows you it's a tough game out there for the officials as well.
Just never really got his handle on the ball. The snap was a little bit low, and you're going to see right now number 81 come across there. That's Green, and he was trying to hit Green, but the ball was deflected and almost intercepted.
So it is 4th down. The Bears holding St. Louis in a very important situation. Only the 3rd punt for Carl Birdsong, averaging 40 yards today on his first 2. Fisher standing at the 10 of Chicago. It goes out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. So the Chicago Bears are now approaching crunch time for them. The Cardinals defensively have been tough the last 2 Bears series. Let's see what happens when we return.
Pontiac.
When you get a Pontiac Sunbird, you get a car that's practical and easy to own. When you get a Pontiac Sunbird, you get a car that's technically advanced and carefully built. And when you get a Pontiac Sunbird, you can also get a car with 150 turbocharged horsepower. If you're so inclined. Sunbird, only from Pontiac.
We build excitement.
Pontiac.
You'll find special values on products by great names during the Great Fall Hardware event at True Value Hardware stores. Like the Skill cordless screwdriver that runs hundreds of screws on one charge. Or take your choice of a Master Mechanic single-bit axe, 7-piece screwdriver set, or a rugged Fisker's hand drill. They're available during the Great Fall Hardware event at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Monday, Newhart's back in his hilarious season premiere. Will Dick get stuck with Kurt's Cafe?
Roof is shot, Dick. We'll sell it if it takes every cent we got.
Monday.
The clock becomes important. 8:43 to play. St. Louis by 3. Bears football. First down from their own 15. McMahon has gone all the way at quarterback, but for one play when he went out to have his hand injected with a painkiller. Draw play. Payton. Dancing. Gets his way out to the 27, where he's hauled down from behind by Al Bubba Baker. And remember, at the end of this well-played football game, we hope to show you yet another one. It's certainly a key matchup. Dallas and Washington battling for first place in the NFC East, both at 4-2. Some of you will see the Vikings, under the new coach Les Steckel, out against the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Raiders. Lots of football ahead today on CBS Sports. Second down and 3. A 7-yard gain for Payton. And Payton dives for the first down. Somehow squirted through a little gap behind Bortz and Covert and got the Bears first down.
He's got to be close to 100 yards for this game, too, Walter Payton.
He had 88 going into this series. The Rams are really doing it to New Orleans, 28-10. Philadelphia in front of Indianapolis, 13-7. Two struggling teams. The Colts have won 2 and lost 4. Miami ahead of Houston now after a slow start. And Walter has hit the century mark. He's right on it. 100 yards on 23 carries. His 60th 100-yard game. McMahon for Gault, who slipped. Both the defender and the receiver slipped, which was good fortune, because once Gault was down, Wayne Smith had a chance to make the interception, but he fell as well.
There it is. 60 times over 100 yards during his NFL career. As you know, last week he broke Jimmy Brown's record. And now 60 and heading for more. Kansas City has the lead over San Diego now in the third quarter. And Cleveland 20, the Jets 17, fourth quarter. Good rally by the Browns.
Well, the Browns have been struggling. 1-5 going into the contest. Second and 10. Rolling right, McMahon. Back the other way for Suey. Suey cannot get the block he needs. And a good defensive play. David Galloway right behind him. Stafford Mays. Credit the St. Louis defense.
Well, that play was really set up. Had it not been for Galloway and Stafford Mays, Jay Hilgenberg, 63, the center, on this screen back to the fullback, had his choice to hit Galloway high or low. He decided to go low, and Galloway went over the block. Now, 63 goes to the ground. They're chasing. Now you can see the screen is going to set back on the other side of the field. Now you see 63 will be facing 65. I hope we get a chance to see it. Nope. But anyway, good play by Galloway.
Excellent. The St. Louis defense, we've been saying that once they got healthy, they'd be better. They have been. The crowd is into this game. Timeout is called by the Bears on 3rd and 13. 6:23 to play in regulation time.
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it! I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
It's called Grand Am.
Grand Am.
It's a true driver's coupe, and it's all new.
Grand Am.
But better than that, it's from Pontiac.
Grand Am.
And you know what that means.
We build excitement. Pontiac.
The crowd. Busch Stadium. St. Louis. Cardinals in front. The clock now a factor.
3rd and 12 and a half.
McMahon will have to scream the signals out of the shotgun. He had to clap his hands to get the ball. Flags down. McMahon throws it out of bounds. McMahon could not make himself heard. He clapped his hands in order to have the ball snapped. Motion was probably called against Chicago. Will they have to pay the price? Yes.
Walter Payton turned up the field and was down the field on the snap of the ball. McMahon decided to continue on and try and call the play. And in that situation, it probably would have been much better just to raise your hand and say, I can't hear.
Offside, number 84 on the defense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
And Payton was also downfield, too. There you can see, there was the reaction. He snapped his hands so he could hear the ball, and it messed up the whole play.
Well, the San Diego Padres have considered that their fans helped their baseball effort. St. Louis Cardinals football fans have done it here. Stump Mitchell is back in. A high snap. Kinzer, it's blocked. The ball is loose. Cardinals will take over. A blocked punt. I'm not sure Finzer ever got to kick the ball.
Here comes the snap. It was high, but it wasn't that high. He more or less just dropped the ball, picked it up, and 2 men were coming straight at him, and he tried to punt the ball. I don't know if he ever really got his foot on the ball.
I don't think so. It was a linebacker, Felanico Noga, number 57, who grabbed the ball, blocked the ball, whether it was a kick or not. Doesn't look like it is, but there's Nico right there diving into Finzer. And, of course, Finzer at that point was effectively just trying to get some foot on the ball, having bobbled it. And it was recovered by the number 1 draft choice, Clyde Duncan, a wide receiver who was a holdout, has not seen action yet as a receiver, but comes up with a loose ball on the special teams at the 10-yard line of Chicago.
And, of course, another advantage of that situation is that once the ball was bobbled and the punter's moving around, you don't have to worry about roughing the punter. You can just come flying right at him, and, of course, that's what they did. St. Louis now has a chance to put this game away. However, a field goal would certainly not put the game away. They need a touchdown.
First down, just outside the 10-yard line. Green wide to the right. Tilley to the left. Otis Anderson. A gain of 3. Dent and Bell made the tackle.
You saw Neil Lomax looking for the signals that come in from the sidelines.
Anderson has 52 yards rushing on 15 carries. Marsh and LaFleur, double tight ends are in. 80 and 89 for St. Louis. 2nd and 8. Anderson is dropped for a loss by Hampton. What a game Dan Hampton is having. Right there with him, number 50, Mr. Reliable in the middle, Mike Singletary. Singletary and Junior have had outstanding days today from the linebacking positions. Junior for the Cardinals. Allerman has not been much behind him in his effort, and Singletary, as usual, has had another good day for the Chicago Bears.
And he's playing this game with a broken tailbone, and if you don't think that can be sore, especially if you get hit from behind.
Well, he doesn't plan to be sitting down out there too much today, I'm sure. Mitchell, Carroll, Danny Pittman are in. On 3rd down, Lomax runs it up the middle. Touchdown! A huge 3rd down play by Neil Lomax.
taking a page from Jim McMahon as he scrambles, can't find the receiver, takes off down the field. Sean Gale gets a beat on him, and he dips to the outside. Todd Bell takes a try at him, but there was no way they're going to get him. He was determined to get to the end zone. As he gets to the 1-yard line, there's Gale, and there's Todd Bell, and Lomax goes in. St. Louis in good shape.
Donahue, he has it. 4:38 remains in the regulation time. Cardinals 30, the Bears 21, 31-21.
Pontiac.
The editors of Road and Track call the Pontiac 6000 STE one of the world's 12 best enthusiast cars. Car and Driver called the Pontiac 6000 STE one of the 10 best cars of 1984. So why did we make it even better for 1985? Just because. The sensational 6000. Only from Pontiac.
We build excitement.
Pontiac.
I tell you, playing polo is a lot tougher than it looks. Sure is. And even though the horses do the running, you still can work up a thirst.
So after a chucker or two, we equestrians drink light beer from Miller.
Yeah, light tastes great, and it's got a third less calories than a regular beer.
And it's less filling.
And that's important, because tomorrow we're going to try our hand at water polo.
Yeah, I sure hope those horses can swim.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
Tuesday, a successful and happily married couple adopt a troubled child.
She's a scared little girl who says she doesn't want a mother.
Jacqueline Smith in Sentimental Journey, Tuesday.
Score. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris back in St. Louis. There's the man of the moment and the hour, Neil Lomax. The Cardinals, after the block punt, 11 yards in 3 plays. The touchdown run by Lomax. There's also a pass for one today. Jack Cameron returning the kickoff for the Bears to the 28-yard line. Well, next Sunday, a CBS Sports Special will have America's Marathon, Chicago, at 4:30 Eastern Time. And those of you who will have a chance to see that will probably be seeing both of the Olympic champions, Joan Benoit in the women's division, Carlos Lopes of Portugal, the men's Olympic champion, next Sunday beginning at 4:30 Eastern Time. And, of course, the Chicago Bears will be in Tampa next week, so Chicago fans can have themselves an afternoon of football action and marathon excitement from their own city of Chicago. McMahon on first down. Under pressure, gets it off, intended for Suey. The rush came from Al Baker, number 60. And it is second down. Cardinals lead by 10 points, thanks to the big play by Lomax and the bigger defensive play.
There's Bubba Baker reacting. He's saying, we got him. Jim McMahon helped Bubba Baker up. That's kind of a reverse of what happens usually.
Second and 10 at the 28.
Lomax has passed for 271 yards today and a touchdown, 14 of 24, and has rushed twice for 29 yards and scored a touchdown. The key one here that may have cemented things for St. Louis. Second and 10. McMahon going deep for Willie Gault. And it is almost intercepted by Lionel Washington. And let's pick up an NFL Today report from New York and Brent Musburger.
Tim, if the Buccaneers kick this field goal, they would move into a tie with the Bears if they can't come back. But O'Reilly misses it against Detroit. The Buccaneers and Detroit, they go to overtime at the Silverdome. Back to Tim.
Well, they are in overtime, the Bucks and the Lions. So some excitement involving those two teams that will directly affect, as Brent just indicated, the Chicago Bears' role atop the Central Division. If the Bears lose here, they'd fall to 4-3. If the Buccaneers can win in overtime, they would be tied atop the NFC Central.
They're now doubling the Bear wide receivers a little bit more. Emery Moorhead is the guy that ought to have some running room.
Third down, the rush on McMahon. He gets away from one man, the safety Kay, and now has to take it outside where he is stopped. Jr. and Howard, the linebackers. And this excited St. Louis defense has done the job at every important turn today. And a little extracurricular activity there involving Stafford Mays, number 76, and a couple of the Bears.
Well, there's no question that the Cardinal defense has really turned on. They are playing very, very excited football.
Unnecessary roughness after the play. Number 76 on the defense. Number 26 on the offense. Offset, 4th down.
Mays and Suey, I believe, was the Bear player who got into the little altercation with Mays. Physical mismatch for sure. And Jim Hannafin saying, hey, Stafford, don't worry about it. You've had yourself quite a day out here today, which he has. And he comes right back out.
Well, the Bears have McMahon in there. And it's a 4th down situation, and apparently they are not going to punt with 4 minutes and 3 seconds to go.
4th down, and the Bears at desperation time now have got to somehow keep the ball, make something happen fairly quickly. If they did come up with a touchdown, of course, if they could get that within, say, the next minute, then obviously this game would be far from over. Lots can happen in that 2-minute situation, but they've got to, A, keep the ball, and B, get a quick score. The Cardinals defense has other ideas, and they have played awfully well today. 4th down. McMahon running out of time, and he is tackled before he could get the ball away. So the Cardinals will take over. Curtis Greer was the man who had a hold of McMahon, and while it will be an incomplete pass, the effect is the same. Cardinals have a 1st down at Chicago's 32.
And they have returned to form. They had 59 sacks last year, got off to a slow start this year, but now it's starting to come back.
These have been 2 of the Cardinals' offensive heroes again this afternoon. And next week on the NFL Today, you'll get a little closer look at them. Lomax in green. And our action next Sunday will find these Cardinals at home against Washington. And the Bears, meanwhile, will be at Tampa Bay, so those 2 games loom large. The Cardinals, from their own 32, Tyrone Keys comes on for the first time today that we have noticed at least. He was a non-starter because of an injury. And St. Louis has taken a timeout. They lead by 10. 3:58 on the clock. Very, very confident Neil Lomax this week felt that they could burn the Chicago defense, despite the fact that they felt they would have to reduce the number of plays that they could run, that they would give the Bears enough looks, enough formations, and then hit them when the Bears came with the blitzes. And so far, it's worked out. They have 31 points to 21, but their defense has certainly been every bit as important. Lomax having himself another outstanding afternoon. And interesting, Johnny, when we were talking to him, he said, well, you know, I felt from Jim Hannafin's suggestion that I could maybe consider what the stats have been on other quarterbacks, great quarterbacks of the past. And these were 3 of the guys that he seemed most concerned about. And through 3 seasons, you can see his rating is a higher one than that of the greats Namath, Burt Jones, Kenny Stabler. It's given Lomax enormous confidence that he's done so well in his 3rd year, after 3 years, we should say precisely, as these great quarterbacks did after 3 years of their NFL careers. 1st down. Lomax gives to Anderson. Anderson has a 1st down to the 17 of Chicago. Al Harris and Mike Singletary make the tackle.
Anytime you see the tackle, the off tackle, number 67, Lewis Sharp, come through the hole, watch 67 come through the hole all by himself. If he can get through there like that, you know the back is on his way. As Gary Fenwick tries to make the tackle, Sharp takes him out, and then a bunch of Bears knock him down. The Bears defense has broken. It has been broken by the Cardinals.
15-yard pickup for Anderson, who now has 66 yards on the day. First down, St. Louis, threatening to blow it open. And they are already in command. Anderson stopped after a gain of 2, close to the 15-yard line. Mike Hartenstein, Steve McMichael on the tackle. And coming up next, we'll be going to either the Dallas at Washington game or Minnesota at the Los Angeles Raiders. And Cardinals fans most interested in the Dallas-Washington game for sure.
It appears that the Bears are going to be 4-3 after this game, and so will the St. Louis Cardinals. If Tampa Bay wins that overtime game, they would be also 4-3 and tied with the Bears for first in the Central Division. They're in overtime right now.
The Giants have defeated Atlanta to move to 4-3 in the NFC East. This is Anderson. Anderson trying to break for the goal line, and he is just short. Stumbled and hustled with a second effort and nearly got it to the end zone, but Fensick stopped him from going in. It'll be a first down on the doorstep of the Bears goal line, the ball at the 1-yard line. Time out on the field.
And they're really making the counter work. It's an action going one way, and finally Fensick gets a hold of him, 45, and Otis says, I want to get to that end zone. Didn't quite get there.
82 yards now as we have hit the 2-minute warning at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, with the Cardinals about to wrap up a victory over the Chicago Bears. They lead by 10.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be All You Can Be, sponsored by the U.S. Army. One of the NFL's most versatile runners is William Andrews of the Atlanta Falcons. Second effort is the signature of his never-say-die style of running. Since 1979, he has dragged many a defender in his march towards becoming the league leader in combined rushing and receiving yards. By being the NFL's most productive runner over the last 5 years, William Andrews is the best he can be.
GCA, this is Army 212, 7 miles northwest, low fuel, heavy weather.
Army 212, radar contact, turn right, heading 150.
With a fog-bound helicopter hanging on your every word, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, only that you're good.
Slowly.
Roger.
Overlanding threshold.
Be all that you can be.
Thanks for your help.
Roger.
You can do it in the Army.
Back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, the Cardinals on the 1-yard line of the Chicago Bears and holding a 10-point lead. Their victory today will move them to 4-3. And meanwhile, the New York Giants defeated Atlanta today to move to 4-3. So there is a jam up atop the NFC East. And the game following us, Dallas and Washington, will determine who the leader will be. Harrell, Farrell, and Randy Love are all in the backfield. And that is Willard Harrell, a 10-year man who is stopped behind the line for a loss of about a yard on the play. 32-year-old Willard Harrell, a handy man. There's that Giants final, 19-7. And quite a rebound off their loss to San Francisco. Miami handing it to Houston again. They're unbeaten. Houston is winless. There's the one that's in overtime, and that affects the fortunes of the Chicago Bears. Jets leading Cleveland. That's been a seesaw affair.
And New England 17-14. That's another seesaw affair.
In the fourth period.
And Philadelphia in a match between the NFC and the AFC, 16-7 over Indianapolis, fourth quarter.
Timeout on the field at this point. If the Eagles can win, they'll get to 3-4 in that crowded NFC East.
When the ball
Indianapolis
is made ready
will fall
for
to
play, there'll
2-5.
be 18 seconds on the 30-second clock. The 30-second clock was not started.
All right, a little clock problem here. Technical difficulties prevailed on the 30-second clock, so they're going to tack on 15 seconds. And that's what the time remaining will be for them to get the ball in play, as it's ticking down to 10 now. Almost irrelevant, these developments. Second and goal. Cardinals in command. Randy Love, close to that goal line. And he is stopped short. Randy Love went 4 yards for the first Cardinal touchdown today after Lomax had hit Roy Green for a 37-yarder to set it up.
Roy Green was second in yardage in the NFC going into this game, and he had, 160, 170 yards in receptions. He's got to be getting up there.
Well, after all of the excitement of NFL football today, you'll have this outstanding Sunday night lineup. 60 Minutes starts it off. Murder, She Wrote, that new series, followed by the Jeffersons, Allison, Trapper, John M.D. A fine evening of entertainment as usual. Willard Harrell. Touchdown. Now, there's the kind of a guy you like to see get one. They've had quite a shakeup on the St. Louis roster. Most of the old veterans are gone. This is a young team led by the likes of Lomax and Green. Here's a 32-year-old, 10-year man who came over in 1978 as a free agent from Green Bay. They just can't cut him. Every year he sticks with the lineup, and that's the kind of a guy you like to see get a touchdown.
He put his nose in there and got in and says, I want to be a part of the action, and he is, as St. Louis has really blown this one open now. It's going to be 38-21 if he makes this one.
O'Donoghue has the point after, and the Cardinals have handily taken this game from the Chicago Bears, breaking up a close game at halftime, a 3-point margin, and taking the play away from the Chicago Bears in the second half. After the Bears, remember, had used up 11 minutes of the third period on their touchdown drive, with Matsui going in from a yard out. But from that point forward, it's been all St. Louis. Our executive producer of CBS football coverage of the NFL is Terry O'Neill. Senior producer, Charles H. Milton III from Montrose, Colorado. Our producer on the site, David Winter. And our director today, Peter Bleckner. Associate producer, Joe Carolay. And this outstanding technical crew and our broadcast associates working down there on what we call our Chiron. They put up the things you're reading right now, among many other duties. An outstanding technical crew. We hope you've enjoyed the action. This has been an exciting football game, at least until the Cardinals broke it wide open late in this fourth quarter. The Cardinals defense has got to feel real good about themselves, because they contributed mightily to the success going along with the razzle-dazzle offense of Lomax and company. O'Donoghue, as you see the view from Jack Cameron in the Bears end zone, who will bring it out. Out to the 20-yard line. Well, let's find out what happened in overtime. Tampa Bay and Detroit. It affects the Bears' fortunes. Here's Brent Musburger.
Tim, Detroit gets the ball after the Buccaneers can't move it in overtime. Leonard Thompson breaks to the end zone, and here comes Danielson's pass, and the Lions beat the Buccaneers in their two-game winning streak, and that is a boost for the Bears. Detroit's 2 wins this year, both in overtime. Back to Tim.
Well, some consolation for Chicago Bears fans indeed, as the Lions defeat Tampa Bay in overtime. Detroit moves to 2-5. Tampa falls to 3-4, so the Bears will remain alone in first place, despite their defeat here at the hands of the St. Louis Cardinals. Thomas and Gentry are the running backs here on first down, and it's Rusty Lish at quarterback and overthrowing Dennis Gentry. There's 29 seconds and counting, and they got a little heat on Lish on that play. The charge led by Baker again. We'll be going directly to one of these two games. Most of you will see the Cowboys and Washington, each at 4-2. The Cardinals will now be at 4-3. Some of you will see the Vikings, who are 2-4 and affecting the Bears race in the Central Division, out against the LA Raiders, who are 5-1 and looking like the Super Bowl champions they are. Bashnagel, Brad Anderson in at wide receivers, and Lish gets the ball off as he is dropped by number 75, number 75, Curtis Greer, and it'll be an incomplete pass. Or are they going to give him the sack on that play?
I believe they're going to give him a sack, as Mike Ditka's team now has dropped to 4-3 after that 3-0 start. They played a good football game here.
3rd and 16.
15 seconds on the clock. Jim Hannafin going around with congratulations for his team as they now can look ahead to a big confrontation next week with the Redskins. Third down, Lish near the end zone. Gets it upfield. It's going to be intercepted. Yes, Lionel Washington. Lionel Washington, the intended receiver, was Jack Cameron. And so the game ends on that interception. And so, for Johnny Morris, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis with a final score. The Cardinals 38, the Bears 21. Coming up next, the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Redskins from RFK Stadium in Washington, or Minnesota at the Los Angeles Raiders. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.